All right, so let's actually start this off. This is definitely going to be an interesting episode because I feel like we have multiple things to talk about. This is going to be one of the few episodes where we're going to be able to talk about MMOs that aren't just WoW, to kind of look at what needs to happen in Shadowlands. Of course, I do want to start everything off by giving a huge shout out to our only sponsor on the show. Big shout out to Party for making all of this possible, and also for helping us all find people to play games with, which can be very helpful when we're playing MMOs. But Summit, we wanted to have you on because we saw you playing ESO. Now you're playing Guild Wars. It's very clear that you have the MMO itch right now, and the one game that you're not playing is World of Warcraft. So we kind of wanted to talk about what's actually going on with those games, what's drawn you towards those games, and what kind of made you make that leap, so then we can talk about what we need to see in Shadowlands to get more players on board for that game.
I don't think it's anything against WoW or anything like specific game. It's just I got like this weird itch. I normally itch it with like some sort of shooting game, MMO weird thing, you know, like I tried Destiny at one point. And yeah, it's just like I was looking up to like the games that had the fun PvP, and it's been a roller coaster of emotions. But it's nothing against World of Warcraft. I think WoW's a great game. It's just I was trying to find something that had a little bit more action, combat, less tab. You know what I mean?
What about BDO?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, BDO. It's just, you know, everybody's got their experiences, and BDO for me was. Dude, I spent a month on it, and I feel like I didn't really get too far. You know what I mean? And that game is extremely fast-paced and about hitting, like, the one-hit CC combo whammy-bammy on people. And I don't know. I just wanted to try something different because I'd already spent, like, a long chunk in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can get that, man. I've actually been kind of I've enjoyed seeing like different people play these different MMOs. I think it's actually good for the market in general. Like for so long, there's only really just been WoW. And, you know, now I'm seeing you play, like, you played ESO, and now, like, you're into Guild Wars. How are you liking Guild Wars?
You know, like I said, very much a roller coaster of emotions. I think MMOs in general are kind of new to me when it comes to streaming them, and it all kind of like triple whammies on you when it comes to like viewers and being bad at a video game and like progressing and learning through an MMO. But it's been pretty cool. I like the PvP in it a lot at times, and then at times I'm ready to beat my face in with my keyboard. But overall, I think I've been having a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about MMO viewers. I think there's a larger percentage of professional viewers in MMOs than any other genre, right? Like right now in Asmon's chat, I'm sure a bunch of them are actually professional MMO players. And anytime that even a simple mistake happens, they definitely do let you know. And it's kind of different from other games in that regard. But I want to go back to ESO, and I kind of want to start there for just a little bit, because you kind of had a moment where I feel like you said you were done with ESO, and what actually caused you to be done? Was it that you felt like you achieved everything you were going to achieve, or
not so much? Gosh, I don't even really know. It was a good time. I had such a great time. The PvE in that game is a lot of freaking fun, and they have a crazy amount of add-ons in that game. But I don't really know if anything really drove me off from it. Probably just the playstyle that I chose. It's very I chose like a playstyle that was like, you know, invis out, go in, try to kill someone, invis away again, you know? So it was like, it would frustrate me and piss me off whenever like the magic motherfuckers would hit me with some AoE, I felt like I was getting hit by some random lightning bolt every 3 seconds, you know what I mean? But, you know, I was getting a lot of advice from like the really good players. And the thing about ESO is it's like, you do so many things in between things to cancel stuff. So it's like, you want to pop this heal, but your guy has to like do this weird animation where he has to like put his arms up and shit. But if you pop that heal and then immediately roll, you're ready to go on whatever the F you want to do after that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I had this one guy tell me it's like every single time you roll without doing an ability beforehand, you're literally wasting that. You're wasting a roll, you're wasting an ability time, you're wasting a slot. Like, so it's crazy. They're constantly doing stuff. And it was just like a different style. So I wanted to see what Guild Wars was about after all that. You know what I mean? So I don't think it was necessarily anything against it either.
that was like kind of the thing that happened to me as well. Zach and I randomly were talking about ESO last night. I know the thing that pulled me out of it, I really enjoyed the game and just rolling around with no regard for life at all, like not even thinking about what I was doing, just playing the game. I enjoyed a lot. But the second where I was like, oh, if I want to be good at this game, I need to learn animation canceling. I need to learn different things like that. That was the thing that personally took me out. Yeah, and I feel like Zach as well, that was not necessarily the play style that he was as into, being kind of a tab target Andy.
Yeah, I mean, like, the game was alright. I felt like that Elder Scrolls Online was almost a better one-player experience than, like, a multiplayer experience. And, like, the whole scaling zones was a little bit weird to me, too. But, like, I did see a lot of the, like, more high-end combat, and how a lot of that was built around, like, animation canceling and trying to, like, fit abilities inside of other ones. Like, that's... Seems like it's like a carpal tunnel thing, man. Like, you have to hit a bunch of fucking buttons.
I felt like it was kind of like a hybrid between something like Black Desert and something like WoW. You know what I mean? Where it was like there is sort of a tab thing in there. So people kept telling me, and something I kept complaining about was when I would set up a combo on some motherfucker. Hey, I don't know if I'm cool to cuss. Are you guys good with cussing on your stuff?
We don't give a
fucking
fuck.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'd set up on a fucking combo on this dude, and he'd be stunned, and I'd be ready just to give it to him, and his fucking some random pet would like jump right in front of me, and instead I'd just dick all over this pet instead. You know what I mean? Oh man, it would annoy me sometimes. But then people were telling me like it's like got like a little hybrid target thing, so you could target him mid thing, and you can keep doing damage to him. But I was stubborn, I didn't do it. So.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff's annoying as hell, I'm sure. And so, is the pet programmed to do that, or did it just happen on its own?
I don't think they're programmed to do shit. I think they're just going wherever the F they want, personally, but I'm not 100%, man.
Jesus, dude. Okay.
It'll be some random shit, dude. I think there's like a robot. Someone had like a fucking robot that would jump in front of me sometimes. Like, there's some shit, you know?
Yeah, that was it's funny though, because every time I go back to ESO, it's always somebody like you start streaming it, and then I'm like, shit, I want to fucking play ESO. And then I'll start playing ESO. I'll play it for a little while. I end up getting out of it, and I'm always curious when I play that game to see what people are gravitating towards and what I would want to see in WoW. But I think one of the things that ESO does do really well is it is its own game. I feel like it doesn't really try to take too much shit from other games, and that's one of the reasons that I feel like people keep coming back to it. Did you feel the same way?
True. Absolutely. It was very unique in the sense that it was like I feel like there's some dudes that play that game that probably literally have every set, because at some point in time, you don't know what patch a set could work with another set. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of a cool concept. So people were telling me like, oh, don't use this set next patch. It's going to be getting nerfed. You should try this one instead. And it's a cool concept, and it's unique to itself without a doubt.
I think that's a lot of things too that some of the people who are more in the WoW sphere don't realize with how ESO's gear actually does work. It's basically the sets kind of exist. You can get them at pretty much any point in the game, right? As well, and then they scale up.
It's up to like 160, right, or something like that.
So you don't want to start getting gear until you are actually 160, so that you're getting max level gear. I don't know if there's a way to actually get it to 160 in upgrades. I haven't seen that, so no idea. Their crafting's weird. You literally are ripping enchants off of pieces of gear. So okay. But you're getting so much of it, and I'm not trying to I wasn't trying to bank everything. So what I would do is I would just have like a buttload of stuff to sell, and I would just pick a couple of them that I wanted to learn some traits from, and I just sell everything else no matter what they were, because you just get so much of every single trait and thing to put on. So yeah, it was an interesting way to craft. It was like very time based. It was like, oh, if you want to learn this, it's going to take 10 hours. So blah, blah, blah. And then apparently there's some ones that take like 30 hours. So some of them are pretty nutty, apparently.
I did some of the world stuff where you go out into like the in like a big open field, and you had like trebuchets and you were assaulting different bases and stuff. I thought that was actually pretty fun. And like that's one thing that like I really wish like MMOs focused on more, is like the PvP aspect and like that type of siege aspect. I'm really excited to see more of that.
It's funny.
Go on.
It's funny though, because I actually feel like that, and then also what you were saying with crafting, lead into one of the biggest things that I want to talk about today, which is looking at ashes, right? When you actually look at Ashes of Creation, I feel like there are a lot of elements from ESO that people are like, wait, I've never heard of anything like this. But you can actually look at ESO and go, okay, how did this feel in ESO? How do we think it's going to feel in Ashes? Because a lot of the world moments seem like they could be similar. And then also exactly what you said with crafting, I feel like that might be something that Ashes of Creation is going to lean on pretty heavily as a gear progression system.
You know what's funny is I thought, I felt like after playing Guild Wars 2 that it would feel more like Guild Wars 2 than it would ESO personally.
Why is that?
Because when we were talking to the dev, he specifically said there is going to be a hybrid between targeting abilities and abilities that are action combat, not necessarily like ESO where it's like you are action combat but you can hybridly target them, you know what I'm saying? So in Guild Wars 2 it's essentially like that. You have your abilities that target people, but you have your abilities that you have to aim and pinpoint on them. So I feel like it'll go more like that personally.
I feel like, yeah, I mean, having the tab targeting is like probably better for newer players and people that aren't really as experienced with games or like not as really dexterous as like somebody who plays all the time. Like I know for my mom, like I can only imagine watching her try to play Black Desert, but something like, something like WoW is easy, right? I mean, she just targets the fucking mob, hits the button, and the spell just goes right to the mob every time.
True,
and so it makes it easier in that way, and I think that's probably the best way to do it. And like even WoW has some abilities now that are skill shot action based too. And I think the combination is really actually cool. I'm super excited to see like what that breakdown is going to be in terms of percentages.
I'm always curious with WoW, like what does WoW really have right now that is skill shot? It's like orb, a lot of the AOE, I guess, kind of like stuns are kind of they're somewhat skill shot esque.
Yeah,
there definitely aren't that many, but I do feel a lot of the ones that are implemented do feel good. Traps, yeah, people are naming a lot of the different things right now. Bladestorm, lol, W, yeah, I guess we'll count it.
I think one of the big differences from WoW and Guild Wars 2 is the evade thing too. A lot of times you'll hit like your big, like I'll hit a big stun where I'm gonna go in. I think I'm gonna hit like this dope ass combo, and this dude will randomly roll or something, or this guy will see it coming and he'll evade it. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, he just blew a huge cooldown of mine. You know what I mean? And I got nothing out of it. Or I'm gonna rage dump, kind of like a warrior in World of Warcraft, where you're gonna dump your rage into an execute or something like that, and a dude evades it, and now your rage is gone, and you have to build that rage back up because he evaded it. So it's like if they, are dodging the red abilities and stuff like that, the sustainability is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are less things in WoW to actually interact that way, right? Like in WoW, if a skill shot happens, yeah, certain classes have teleports or things like that, but for the most part, you're just going to stand there and eat it like a champ.
Yeah, for the most part.
WoW's like
really
so much
it.
like WoW's like so much like countering, like, oh, he hit this button, so okay, now I'm gonna hit this button, and then like the teamwork on top of that, like the craziest shit, like World of Warcraft arena is the craziest stuff. I don't know how anybody keeps.
Did you ever watch
insane.
WoW Arena?
Yeah, absolutely, a lot.
Really?
Who's your favorite host?
My host. Favorite host? Yeah, like, you know what, dude? Listen, I'm not gonna say I watch a lot of tournaments. I would say I watch more individual streamers playing. Like I've seen a lot of Sea-Doo. I've seen a lot of Zaryu. Mages, dude, mages. Everybody plays them. All the good players that I know play like Venruki and shit. They play a mage. What's the I can't remember the guy's name. He normally has an afro. Yeah. There you go. Good call. Yeah, I like watching those guys. I think that their arena game is incredible, to be honest.
They'll still be there. So if you ever do want to watch a tournament, like Zico and Ricky, they'll still be there. Yeah, you'll definitely enjoy it.
Actually, I like Zico's casting. Not to be biased.
Yeah, sure. Me too.
I talk about casting.
Zico does a good job, man. He certainly does. I mean, like overall, I'm happy to see like where WoW Arena kind of is right now. But you're right. For me personally, it has like a lot of readability issues where like I don't really know what the fuck's going on. And it's kind of the same way, I feel the same way whenever I watch PvP. Like, if you're ever doing something like ESO, there's just, like, numbers popping up, people rolling around, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's hard to understand unless you played it.
The thing about WoW is that the craziest thing about the good players is they know everything. Like, they see a little tiny debuff go down, and they're like, yo, this dude just popped this. And I'm like, I can't keep track of that shit at all. I'll be slamming into this guy, and all of a sudden I'm not doing damage to him, and he starts healing, and then people will be telling me later it's because he has karma, and I'll be like, now I got to figure out when this dude's got karma. I got to be looking at his little tiny debuffs, and oh, man, it's tough. I don't know how they keep track of that stuff.
I'm the same way with Thorns.
Well, you have all those. You have like the 2-minute buffs. You have the 3 minutes. You have the 1 minute. It's like you have all of those that you have that war of attrition going on where you're constantly trading. Obviously, you have all the things going on like the different kicks that you're actually able to throw out and everything like that on top of all the positioning, which of course is going to be in an MMORPG. Do you think that's the thing that makes you avoid WoW PvP? Do you think that all of those added things that you need to keep track of are the reason that you play it less, and kind of when you're trying to fulfill the itch, you go towards Guild Wars, you go towards ESO? Because we're trying to figure that out with Shadowlands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, man, arenas. It's
Just
hard to
say it.
want to be driven for PvP. I feel like the arena guys they're so fucking good. It's hard to want to follow suit. Some of the stuff that they do, and not every. It's when I think it was the time that I talked to Soda Pop and that really shattered my heart when it came to arena. When he told me all the keybinds that were necessary for competing at high levels, and it was like 9 keybinds for targeting only, and I was like, that's insane. You got a keybind for arena enemy 1, 2, and 3. You got a keybind for your teammate 1, 2, and 3. You have you have to polymorph on arena enemy 1, 2, and 3. You have to have your normal polymorph. You have to have your focus polymorph. Oh, bro, the list goes on. You know what I mean? On multiple classes, I'm sure. And it's just too insane for me. So I like to seek other MMOs when it comes to that. I know the learning curve isn't any different, mind you, and I lose my mind just like I would in anything else. Yeah, I just think it's maybe not. It's a different route away from that. You know what I'm saying?
There's so many keybinds, people just use the keybind Alt F4.
Pretty much it's crazy, right?
It's a bit much, man. Like well, that's why they made the Razor Naga. I mean, it has like 9 buttons. I mean, that shit was made for WoW. I mean, it's got 9 buttons on the side of it. Like, it's insane. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, it's very overwhelming. And like, how many keybinds do you need for like ESO PvP then to compare it to WoW?
Well, I mean, on each bar you have 6 abilities, so 12 abilities. Is there anything else you do? I'm trying to think, because on Guild Wars you have some extra shit. I'm trying to remember if ESO if you do, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you just got 12 abilities. It's very much about positioning and using your shit with other people and stuff like that. So yeah, 12 plus 2, is that what it is? Yeah, there's even some single bar. It's a lot of like. Front bar being like your 2-hand sword or something like that. It's like a lot of your damage abilities, right? And then it's like your back bar will be like either some extra buffs that you need for your front bar or some sustainability or some escapes, you know what I mean? Shit like that. It seems to be what it is. It's like a lot of ESO is constantly having your buffs up at all times. But yeah, for the most part, it just seems like 6 abilities on both bars.
So a little bit of an easier time jumping in, getting things set up, and being able to play. And for you, all of the loop that's kept you in the MMORPG as well is coming from the actual gameplay of PvP, right? You're not necessarily getting in the PvE loop as much and being like, okay, I need to grind for this piece of gear. Or is there an element of that there for those games with you as well?
ESO more so. I haven't gotten into that part of Guild Wars yet. Guild Wars, I'm doing them a little bit opposite. On ESO, I started PvE and then I transitioned into PvP. I realized, in my opinion, that PvE didn't help me for fucking anything. Transitioning into PvP, it was like I had to learn a whole different build, and so I did it different. But on ESO, I know that there was definitely some important pieces that I had to participate in PvP or PvE for, which I like, by the way. I hope that continues in games like Arc.
I think
that's Arc, Ashes of Creation, AOC, Arc.
Yeah, I was like, what, the dinosaur shit? Like, I was
the dinosaur game, dude.
I googled Arc. I was like, dinosaur game.
I meant AOC. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, whenever you how'd you first find out about AOC? Did somebody tell you, or just see a video?
So it was like forever ago, and I'd even gotten it confused with another game. I don't know if you guys remember some game. I don't remember what game it was. It was like some game where dudes get old and your character dies. You guys remember that shit?
Oh, that sucks.
What game was
I don't
that?
know what game it is, but it sounds like
your character eventually inevitably dies. I can't remember what game that was.
And it was an MMO?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if it ever came out, but it was like there was like videos on it.
I don't know. Every time I look at my hairline, I'm pretty sure I'm playing that game right now.
Yeah,
Atlas might as well be the same, but.
Well, the Atlas.
Anyways, but I had heard about it a long time ago from the Kickstarter, And you know, after that Kickstarter had gone dark for so long, like they said, it was like 5 years. Like he's been working on it now. So the first thing I'd heard on it since then was people talking in the chat about it. And Lazy Peon's video, and Lazy Peon's video was so well done, and it was like, it's so funny. It was like, it was too good to be true. It was like, I read the comments first, and the first comment was, "It's too good to be true." And I was like, okay. So I went in kind of with that in the back of my brain, and it was straight up legit. Everything after another was like, no way. Next one was like, no way. Come on. No, this next one was like, come on. You're just like blowing smoke up my ass now. You know what I mean? It was honestly too good to be true. So it's crazy to see all the ideas that they have.
I agree, man. Like whenever I got to interview Steven and I talked to him about it, it's like the shit that he was saying is the shit that I'm thinking. It's like, as an actual player, it's almost like if you had somebody who's played MMOs for like 20 years and has gotten pissed off at every single one of them, and then you just had that person make a game, that's what they would be saying. And I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, like, I know that a lot of people, like, especially for us in the WoW community, right? I mean, it's like, oh, wow, a new WoW killer? Oh, I haven't seen that before. And they're just expecting it to suck. But I'm excited. I definitely, I'm cautiously optimistic. I felt the same way that you did, especially when they talked about like only having certain flying mounts and being able to, you know, get certain things at certain times of the year. Like, that shit is cool. Like, that's what
even like the little things, cool. Like it seems like what was good about this is he had an instant answer for everything, right? There was no like, oh, let me go ask our coder, or I can talk to this guy, we'll figure this out later, or you know what I mean? It was like, it was just, he had an answer instantly for everything, which is nice because it means he has his hand in every little bit of the game, you know?
Yeah,
it was also nice. Involved. Well, you kind of got the vibe too, where he wasn't scared to be like, yo, we don't know that yet, or we're still working on that. When anytime you have a AAA company, they're never going to have that attitude, right? They're going to be like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to kind of dance around the bush for as long as they can. But he was pretty direct about the stuff they didn't know. My take on the game right now, and I'm curious to hear from both of you as well, where you do kind of sit on it. I feel like when you look at the game right now, there's a really interesting system set up with how the nodes are going to work. And that requires a lot of balance, right? Because if it doesn't have a balance, you're either going to have a world that it feels like there's so much going on that you're always just narrowly missing stuff, or it's going to feel like the world is somewhat empty and there's never anything to do. But even if that works, even if that system is perfect, which would lead to a really cool game, if the combat is not fun and if the combat is not good, you basically just have Eve 2. And it's a game that is fun to be a part of, but not actually a game that you play at all. It's just for
Eve,
8 heads.
Eve on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like Eve Online, are you like comparison to Eve Online, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying, with like it being like a wide open, like social experiment type game where like people are able to do whatever and, you know, have different types of controls over different areas. It could be good. I mean, like, that's something I worry about too, right? I saw how Classic WoW went, and I saw how some of the, you know, the bullshit happened in Classic WoW, and I thought to myself, man, it's a good thing they changed that. So I think it's important for them to make sure that they don't have people that like intentionally try to like ruin other people's experience, but like having players' behavior have impact on the world, sometimes in like, you know, a moderately negative way, is a good thing because it makes the game feel like it's alive. It just matters about how much.
I can agree with that. Absolutely. I feel it.
I'm curious what both of you guys think about that node system as well.
The
for,
nodes?
for any, yeah, because
I don't know. I really like the idea of having the caravan. Like, did you see about the whole caravan thing where you're able to take the node from Wizard? Dude, I love that fucking idea, because I can just think of like having a caravan, and then imagine like if I'm streaming and I have like a bunch of people following me all carrying my shit, and then one person runs out.
Crazy war.
Yeah, they run off with all my stuff, and then somebody else tries to attack the caravan. Like, I really, dude, I think an open world game like this would be funny as fuck to stream because of all the stupid ass things that could happen. And the node system, like being able to move them from node to node, one thing that I'm kind of worried about is auction houses not being universal. Because I feel like what's going to happen with auction houses not being universal is that it's going to be something like, okay, everybody just uses this auction house. It's kind of like in WoW back in the day, everybody would use either the Stormwind or the Ironforge auction house, and nobody gave a fuck about the Darnassus auction house, unless you're trying to buy linen cloth.
Well, I guess it depends where you're at. If the world is going to be as big as we think
Yeah.
it is, and the nodes are going to be, it's almost like if you are. My question is, it's like if you are kind of participating in the building of a node. I mean, how far do you want to venture away from that node? Will you have? Did he talk about teleporting to? Did you get to teleport to a node if you participate?
Yeah.
In that
Did he?
stuff?
Do you know what's going on with that? So basically, you can be part of a family, which is like I guess like a small group of people. Like imagine it's kind of like a close knit group of friends that you play with.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna be Asmon's wife.
All right, that's fine. Okay, yeah. You know what? That's okay with me. But you have to. That means you have to make me all my food buffs.
Dude, I'll do whatever I can. I have a feeling that you would be like the mayor of a city. I'm searching for power, brother.
Okay, all right. You're gonna. So Rich, you're gonna be the first lady.
There we go.
Okay. Good. All right. So yeah, this game's already starting off to be good. No, so basically the way it works is that you're able to summon people from your family to you, but having mass summoning like how warlocks can summon in WoW is apparently not going to be much of a thing. And I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to go.
They said the only other way that you can get like fast travel and things like that, which wouldn't be the direct teleport, was based off of certain nodes that were, I forget exactly what it was called. It was like the scholar nodes.
Mm-hmm.
Those will have fast travel.
Oh yeah, the fully ranked up. The fully ranked up thing.
Which makes people want to invest in certain nodes because if you upgrade those cities to the max level, then you can actually get to other areas of the map easier, which is interesting, and it changes the game every single time the nodes shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, speaking on that auction house thing, you know, ESO does not have a sole auction house. They have guilds that you join, and they have like, I don't know how they get the spots because I didn't get into that. I just joined one of them, but they have like spots in big cities or little cities where you would go to their guild trader, and they have like a site where you'd look up items. And to be honest, I find it to be kind of tedious personally. More so than just having the one universal, like, let me just go and spend my gold and find something that I need. But in that game specifically, it's because of the set pieces, I guess it kind of works out, but kind of tedious. Not a big fan, personally.
The one thing that I found myself becoming a fan of very quickly, though, and this was why I was very intrigued when you initially brought it up when you were talking about ESO, is the crafting in Ashes. And we even see some crafting making a comeback in Shadowlands as well. I feel like it's one of the things that gets slept on in games time and time again.
Wait, is that slept on in WoW nowadays? Crafting and shit?
It's so dead in WoW.
It's not slept on, it's dead. Yeah.
Yeah. It
No
got
shit.
executed. Yeah.
I didn't know that, honestly. Okay.
Yeah, surprise. Well, I mean, I think that the fact that you didn't even know about crafting and you've played the game for a while, I mean, I think that kind of gives to show how important it is. It's fucking garbage. I mean, like, there's a few cool things that you're able to get, and other than that, it's not really that important or meaningful.
No shit, man. That
Yeah.
sucks. I remember Wrath of the Lich King, it being a huge thing, honestly.
Yeah, and Wrath was great. Like everybody
you had to like talk to other people, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and just the farm routes and stuff. I catch people all the time, fight those motherfuckers. I used to love it.
Now, if you craft a piece of gear, like a crafting piece of gear, it is soulbound as well. So there isn't as much stuff going on with the actual auction house and the
You
economy.
don't have to talk to anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just blow up your own gear and try to make it into things. It seems like in Shadowlands, though, they're definitely moving away from that, and they're having more involved crafting systems, and they're having a lot more customization that's going to be on the gear with the crafting, which is exciting. And then you have games like Ashes that are like every single piece of gear that you have is going to have value in crafting. So I think it's really cool when we look at a lot of these games and we go, wait, crafting is such a vibrant part of this game. Is this something that we want to see in our other MMOs as well?
I'm okay with crafting as long as it doesn't take over everything. It's like I remember Albion Online at one point in time. This was beforehand. I think they've changed things now, but At one point in time, everything was crafting. I don't think like you even got drops. Everything was like, oh, just upgrade your crafting, get to the level 3, 4 shit, and then go out there and fight. I just don't like when it's all crafting. When you still go to raid bosses and gear is still relevant there, and the best shit or equivalent to the best shit. That's and crafting is right along there with it. That's what I like, you know.
Yeah, I always feel like, and I'm curious how Asmon feels about this. I always like when the players who love crafting.
I realize that sounds so ridiculous that this guy is killing me right now because the show is called Allcraft, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there like,
yeah.
I hate when thing is all crafting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really,
it's a good clip.
God,
that's perfect.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's okay.
You're fine, dude. It's a stupid name.
Yeah, it is kind of. It is what it is. Yeah, the crafting and like, what were you saying, Rich? Sorry.
No. I was basically saying, I'm curious how you feel about the idea of, crafting used to be this thing where certain people, they just spent all day crafting, right? They were grinding.
That's your
for
meta. That's what you do as a player. Yeah, I think that's fucking awesome. I've always really liked that, honestly. I think that's a really cool element of the game where people can make their meta and like their type of gameplay built completely around crafting or around, anything, PvP, PvE, etc. But I think especially crafting, you'd have people back in vanilla WoW who all they would do is just spam about the recipes they had. That's it. That's all they would do. They'd just spam about the recipes they had. And like, that was fucking cool, man. Like, I love that. I thought that was really, really cool.
Is it still doing that on Classic WoW?
A little bit, but usually whenever you spam about the recipes you have, then you just take people's stuff and log off. That's usually what happens on Classic more often than not. But yeah.
Well, the cool thing with Classic was when people got the recipes for the first time, right?
Well, I remember, dude, I had the first or the second Lionheart Helm pattern on the server. So me and the other guy with the other pattern, we were like, listen, dude, let's sell it for 100 gold each. And we price fixed that shit. Dude, I made thousands of gold. Like, and then we had each new person that got the Lionheart Helm craft, we would message them, be like, hey, man, so we have this thing going on where we charge 100 gold. You want to be part of this thing? And they're like, well, so you just get 100 gold every craft? I'm like, that's right. That's right. And you keep it at 100 gold. Everybody does it 100 and that's it. And it's perfect. Yeah.
Well, you remember too. So our guild got the first greater spell power enchant.
Yeah.
So Valorous had that, and he was just standing in Ironforge on a mailbox going like, men only want one thing, and it's disgusting, greater spell power. And he would just sell it all day long. And that was all he did. He stopped playing with us. All he would do was sell greater spell power.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but then Quinn freaked out, and he just started spurging out, and he tried to make a deal with Asmon for the Lionheart Helm, and it formed like this whole giant war.
Oh my god. So Quinn, yeah, everybody knows Quinn, right? And so we're trying to get sulfur and ingots so we can craft the server first hammer of sulfurus, the legendary, and Quinn doesn't want to give them to us. He doesn't want to do it. And I'm like, man, like, I'll pay you back, we'll give you the same ones back. And no, that's not what it is. And so finally we had Stay Safe come in, and he just gave us the fucking, he's like, this is taking too long, here you go, just have this and it's fine. But Quinn was like trying to negotiate. He's like, yeah, so I want a free Lionheart Helm, I want free Lionheart Helm crafts for my guild, I want 200 gold, and we're gonna give you 3 ingots, and now we want 4 back, and also I want your firstborn and another 1,000 gold for my epic.
But he started offering up people in the guild for their services. He was like selling us to admin, and we had no idea what was going on. And then Quinn quit. Yeah. He's playing a game for 10-year-olds now. He just plays Minecraft all day. He hasn't beaten it yet.
No.
Yeah. But stuff like that's great. And I feel like a lot of that stuff is gone in WoW. A lot of those moments of, they're moments of tension, I guess you would say. But those are what people remember. And you look back on them and you laugh. And I feel like now they're so scared of having a single bad interaction with the player, so they just try to cut all of that out of the game. And they're like, just hop on this roller coaster. Instead of having big ups and downs, though, it's just the kids' roller coaster at the amusement park. So you don't even need to wear a seatbelt on it.
I feel that. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely gone more Care Bear route without a doubt. I mean, I feel like that's like games across the board, though, right? Like,
yeah, it certainly is.
Do,
And
do you feel that way, Summer? Because I feel like
Yeah.
Zach and I, to be honest, we play less games than you, right? We just play. Well, actually, we kind of just like watch clips of you. Honestly, we just watch clips all day with a few buttons on the
you
screen.
guys probably see me yell a lot then. Wow, I'm sorry. I apologize about that. Yeah, honestly, just kind of collectively across, like at least a lot of games that I play, it seems to be like the dev team slash, I don't know, the business guy making decisions, tossing out the money's motto is appeal to everyone. You know what I mean? As much as you can, but that seems to mostly be, translate to, be as casual as
appeal
possible.
to the dumbest fucking person possible. The biggest, dumbest idiot. You ever do Warfront and BFA, Summit?
Warfront, BFA? No, I don't think so.
Good. Yeah, I mean, like, I was talking about this today on my stream, and like, I hate like whenever games have like no real lose condition, and there's just like you basically just play through it, and there's no way you can fuck it up. Like, I get so annoyed and tired of that, man. Like, I'm waiting I'm waiting for a game that doesn't have that. I hope Ashes has, like, Ashes isn't gonna be like some sort of like high octane, like super challenging PvE thing. But like, I just want to have some degree of challenge, and like at least like a benchmark of challenge, without like a bunch of different multiple difficulties and stuff like that. I really want to see that come back into the game. And like, I'm actually, I don't know, like difficulty in games is really hard to balance, because I know a lot of people suck at games, and so you can't make it super, super challenging. Like, I suck at a lot of games too. And so
me too, my friend.
Yeah, and so like, it's one of those things where it's like you want to have it like kind of appeal to like the high-end players, but at the same time, like, those aren't really most people, and like a lot of people that stream games are just like trending to be better, so it's kind of hard to know like how much of it is like really a good idea and how much isn't,
Absolutely. True. Yeah. As much as I bitch and complain on my channel about things, I know that I haven't played games long enough, and I know that devs wouldn't possibly take stuff like that seriously, so. But hopefully, what I'm missing on MMOs, I still feel like, is it's like just everything. I feel like just like a whole world. I feel like we only get a piece of a world in other MMOs. You know what I mean? It's like you only get Final Fantasy 14. Oh, great PvE experience. So, Elder Scrolls Online, you get a great PvP experience. Or you know what I mean? Everything seems to miss the whole thing.
Yeah, it's been like a long time since I've picked up a game, and when you picked up WoW the first time, you genuinely got lost. You didn't care what you were doing as long as you were doing something in the game.
Yeah.
You don't get that feeling that much anymore, huh?
Not really. I mean, like, I remember I would do something in a game, and I would finish it, and I would think that I did something important with my life. It's like I did something, and I accomplished. I'm successful now. I'm a better person. And I just felt good about it. Like nowadays, I guess maybe now, like being a bit of a boomer, I don't really feel the same way about it. But I do want to get back to that point as much as possible. And I just want to have games that like give you that sense of fulfillment. They give you this sense of like success. It's like you actually win.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, you think that has anything to do with like the time frame of an MMO? You think like just MMOs of just these ones that are out right now, the current best ones, they've just been out for too long. It's like the science has been done. Everybody knows the best shit, and it's just when you get into that, it's almost like you're instantly to min-max mode. You know what I mean?
I think that's
like,
always
everybody
how it
knows
is.
what to do.
Yeah. Because like I think it's also like just nowadays, like every fucking game that comes out is min-maxed down to the point to where it's not fun anymore. It's just what happens, and I don't know if that's ever really going to go away. I think it's just the nature of like people trying to save time and do things faster, which is like that's like a human condition thing. There's no real way you can stop that. Like WoW's tried to stop that.
I'd like to kill this guy in front of me way faster. How can I just fucking stack as much damage through every possible little tiny thing? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I use the example, right? Is like if you're trying to drive to Wendy's and you look it up on Google Maps and they give you three different places to three different directions to take, you're gonna go with the one that has the shortest amount of time. Like that's the path you're gonna take. It's the fastest one.
True.
Like people always are gonna do whatever is faster. It's what makes sense.
I don't know. Every now and then you take the long way. Like you take the long walk. See, I walk. I don't drive. I don't know how to drive. I legally can't drive. But I walk everywhere. I live in New York, and I'll walk stupid long walks, like longer than I actually need to get somewhere to like walk by the water, for example, or to like walk by a place that has a tree, because a tree's fucking rare in New York. I don't see a tree very often.
True, but would you walk right by a McDonald's to go to another McDonald's?
Ooh.
Yeah, if I like the people that
Okay.
like, there's this one place where I go to get my coffee, because the lady who gives the coffee has a funny Canadian accent. And I actually walk past a bunch of like really good coffee shops because I love the Canadian accent. It cracks me up. It's like buying coffee from Lil Peo. I love it.
Have you ever been to Taco Cabana?
Taco Cabana?
Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well, yes, there are 2 Taco Cabanas near me. There's the bad Taco Cabana, and then there's the terrible Taco Cabana. And they both are bad, right? But one of them is worse. And the one that's worse, I have never ordered a Dr. Pepper and not received a Diet Dr. Pepper. Like, in their mind, like, Dr. Pepper is Diet Dr. Pepper. That's all they have. So after this has happened like 30 times, I just stopped going there. Even though it's a little bit closer to me, I know, man, I go a little bit farther. And so, like,
I guess that makes sense.
It's like there are exceptions, but for the most part, like those.
But if they're exactly the same, I agree.
Yeah,
right?
you're obviously going to go to the closer one. I mean, like, it's just what makes sense. And
the thing is, though, is like,
stop that.
People. This isn't just in video games. People will constantly choose convenience to the point that it ruins their lives. Like that is just human nature. Like with absolutely every single thing, you will choose convenience over the journey, and you miss out on the entire thing. Like I remember going back to the days with video games when, you know, you didn't have every video game, first of all, and you would literally need to borrow games from friends and play games with friends. How incredible was that? And we're never going back to that. We'll literally never get back to that.
You can never really, well, I mean, I guess you can to an extent when you're young, like let someone borrow, but I mean, we're not even really, it's almost like discs and hard copies will phase out one day, you know?
Well, they already did. I mean, like, I don't even know why you'd have, like, when do you ever go to the GameStop to, like, go buy a game? It's very rare.
I never do, but people will eventually run out of hard drive space if they're not deleting stuff, I guess. And there are people that collect games and want them forever, you know what I'm saying? Well, but then I guess you can just download it again, right? But so...
It's one of those things, like, yeah, that's what I usually do. Like, I'll have, like, the top, like, 10 games that I play a lot. And then if I ever want to play another game, I just re-download it. It takes, like, 20 minutes or something like that. And that's it. I think that's what a lot of people do, honestly. And it's just...
how does GameStop still survive?
Well, simple. They just sell shitty T-shirts and what are those things called? Funko Pops.
Funko
Pops, the big head things, right?
Yeah.
They saved gaming storefronts. I do feel like right now the reason that all of those things stay in business, like the GameStops, is still because of consoles, right? People still need to get controllers, and I feel like for games, people still buy the discs, even though it's stupid. Like I don't fully understand. I don't understand console gamers in general, I feel like, but for the Nintendo Switch, even like that is something that you don't even need to buy hard copies for. You can just download it.
You know, these fools are all going to be laughing at us one day when everything crashes, we lose all our Steam goes down. These motherfuckers got their whole wall of discs, you know what I mean?
But I can still play Ocarina of Time. Yeah. I have all the same shit, man.
It's going to break one day?
Say what?
No, Summit, you think the cloud's going to break one day?
I don't know. I was just saying, dude, it's a potential, right? You never know what happens in the world. I'm just saying, you know, someone out there, you know, how many people have like crazy walls of old school games and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, all my games are on Steam, dude. If Steam kicks the bucket one day, like I'm in trouble, you know?
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, like, I have a few games, like, the last game that I think I bought a physical copy of was Cataclysm. Like, WoW Cataclysm. That was the last one. Like, I have a few newer games that, like, if I go to GameStop, like, sometimes I like to go to GameStop and just see the cool stuff they have. Well, like, I mean, not anymore, but, like, before I would, like, go there and, you know, it's like, oh, great, they have a Funko Pop of, like, a Nintendo. That's kind of cute, right? And, you know, you look around and maybe I'll buy a couple of games, but for the most part, it's not really something I get too excited about. I don't think GameStop can exist for that much longer. I'm surprised that it's existed for as long as it has.
It's actually pretty crazy. Honestly, I feel like when I see other local places that are not like, you know, big bad GameStop, it's I feel like they make a lot of their money off old school shit.
Oh yeah, dude, we have this one place,
I mean?
Game Over Video Games, and they're selling like PS3 games, like Super Nintendo games, and It's like a retro store, and like I go there all the time, man. Like that, I
I
like
mean,
going
even
there just to be
GameStop's
there.
kind of transitioned a little bit to retro, like, haven't they? If I
Yeah.
recall walking into one before, I think they even have like those, they even have like those Segas and Nintendos that have the games all loaded up on them and shit. So
Oh, dude, I'm gonna buy one of those actually. Like, cause I have like all
they're
my old
sick.
cartridges, but I don't think my Super Nintendo works anymore, or at least I haven't tried to make it work in like the last
I
5
mean,
years.
if you got those games, I guarantee those things will work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like went in not that long ago to one of the retro stores to get like Xbox 360 games. I wanted to like replay an RPG, and like that's definitely a reason to go in. But at a certain point, those are going to get more and more expensive, right, over
Oh
time.
yeah, it's weird,
And,
right?
yeah, it becomes like a store for gajillionaires at the end of the day, because like nobody's going to be able to afford like an old Xbox with like a vintage copy of Halo like years down the line. It's kind of weird how
It's
everything's
like,
moved.
how do those stores possibly keep up? It's like constant Craigslisting, and just those sites that you would buy stuff on. But it's like eventually the cycle has got to run out, right? Of old school games and stuff, right? Because they're not being made anymore.
I don't know. That's one thing I always kind of wondered about is like, how are there still like, I don't understand how there's still like Nintendo 64 controllers, because I've broken like just on my own like 20 of those fucking things.
Well, people make those brand new still. Those are
Really?
still
Yeah,
being like,
That's
there's companies that are
crazy.
still making those because there's like honestly the speedrunning community alone is probably enough reason to be making controllers like that. You know
That's
what I
what I
mean?
think is really funny about Smash Brothers is like, even though they've made a bunch of new Smash Brothers, the meta is still to play on a GameCube controller. I love it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's so funny how that is too. Well, I mean, shit, they grew up on that stuff, playing it forever and ever. So yeah, someone was bound to do it.
Yeah, it's like
I
getting
even know
back in your
like
element.
people do some crazy shit like with like adapters and stuff like that for the Nintendo 64 controller because they love it so much for
Oh
like the
my
Wii and
god.
stuff. So
Look, I don't know, man. I always thought the Nintendo 64 controller was fucking garbage. Like, it's like that. It was just the
yeah,
left thing was just over there. It's like you never used it at all. It was just there for no reason because you just
that's
always hold it in the
unfortunate.
middle. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way about both the 64 and the Wii controller personally. I don't know how you Smash Bros dudes do it. Like that is the biggest trigger I've ever seen. Like my
Yeah.
whole fucking finger needs to fit over that thing and I feel like I'm pulling down like a mechanism that is made for like, metal and like hard fucking objects. I don't know, dude. It's like it's a weird thing. I never liked that controller. The C button, they like the C button's turned into a little knob that you take.
Are you talking about the new one, the new little Wii controller?
No, the old school one. I haven't even seen the new
Oh, with
one.
like where you hold it with both hands?
Yeah, you hold it with both hands, and it's like the triggers are so huge and clunky. It's almost like every time you press it, like my mom in the kitchen can fucking hear me
Yeah, it's
when
like
I'm
an
pressing a
arcade
button.
thing. Yeah. It's like from back in the day. It's a massive ass arcade thing. Like even
Yeah, dude.
and they overreacted to that now. Now you get to play Smash Brothers. You can play it on that little tiny thing that's like the
That
size.
little tiny. Yep.
Yes, dude. I was like, I can't play on that. Are you crazy? Like I'm sitting there
Dude.
trying to fucking figure out what the buttons are.
Dude, speaking of which, the Switch is some crazy shit, huh? Bringing it from your... Nobody really talks about that, how insane it is that you can take this
Yeah.
graphical game and just take it from your TV to your device. Like, that used to be like, if you were on a tiny device, it was black and white. It was, you were playing some crap-ass games on Game Boy, you know what I mean? And to see how far it has come is pretty wild.
Oh yeah, I totally.
Am I
agree.
calling it what am I calling? I'm calling it the Switch, right? Okay, I don't know
Yeah,
if I
it's
call
the
it
new
Switch
one.
or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I mean, they had that a bit with the Wii U. Did you ever have a Wii U?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Mario Maker, and I have no idea any other game that existed on that console at all. Period.
The Wii
As
U was
Mario
like
Maker machine.
I thought the Wii U was kind of trash in a lot of ways, but it was smart because it was getting it ready for the Switch, right? I actually
I think
feel like
Switch is
Nintendo
awesome.
and so many. What'd you say?
Switch is awesome.
Oh yeah, the Switch is. I feel like when I play the Switch, I'm like, this is if one console was going to survive, if one style of console is going to survive, it's
Yeah.
going to be
Nintendo.
something like the Switch. Yeah.
It's always Nintendo. Nintendo seems to be pushing the bar of at least unique and imagination.
Well, because they're trying to release new content, right? Rather than just do the same boring bullshit they've done before.
Yeah.
And like every single time, like the issue is that you're going to have more and more people nowadays that are moving over to PC gaming, I think, because of how much more accessible PC gaming is now compared to back then, and like how much more in general people are computer literate. And so there's going to be more and more people growing up understanding how to use PCs because they grew up with them.
True.
So now you're not going to have as many people that care about consoles for the same reasons. So Nintendo does the smart thing, and they look at what can consoles only do. Like, consoles are really good for being party games whenever you have your boys over. So that's what Nintendo is really fucking good at.
You're not freaking wrong. Actually, they very much take advantage of the TV games. Absolutely. Because what you can you not do, and what is a big hassle on computers to do so, and that's like play in the same room together.
The only thing that I feel like Nintendo somewhat lags behind on, because they put out some of the best products, let's be completely honest, like best bang for your buck, they have to focus on so many like weird little niches of game. They tend to just have less titles on all of their consoles, right?
True.
I don't know how bad that is. It's just like one of the things that I've always noticed is it always feels like there's a little bit less on that console. Like I'll have 3 games that I really like on Nintendo instead of having like 40 games on an Xbox that I never really remember.
Yeah,
True.
that's about right. I mean, I was the same with Xbox though. Like I just, Xbox was a Halo machine to me. That's it. I didn't
Dude,
give a fuck.
that's 100% that. And like, what was that part? They had a party game on there that I kind of liked for a little while. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Xbox One, the very very original Xbox came with this. I don't know if it was like a game that came with it, but there was like demos. Fusion Frenzy was one of those demos, and like it was actually super fun.
Fusion Frenzy.
Do you not remember Fusion Frenzy? You got not ring a bell for you guys?
I got open it
I
up
just
right
played
now.
Halo, man, back in the day. I was so into that.
There was like one where it's like your guys are climbing a pipe up, climbing up a pipe, and it's like all you have to do is either duck or jump, and pipes are either coming at head level or they're coming on the ground, and you and your boys are just it's so funny. You guys are all jumping. It's like hoo 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 the whole time, and it starts to go faster and faster. You know, party games, you know, but fun shit.
Oh hell yeah, man. I mean, like, I wish that there were more MMOs. Like, this sounds like kind of weird, and a lot of like my WoW viewers don't like to hear this, but I wish they brought WoW to a console. I want to have like more people be able to play the game. I think that'd be awesome.
Dude, I really think out of all games, MMOs are the perfect crossover for what is it called? Fucking A, for fucking, I don't know why I'm blanking on this. For chat, help me out here. Cross-platform, thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus, I was thinking crossover and could not get my brain on it. But yeah, I think it's like one of the perfect games for cross-platform. In fact, sometimes I envy the fucking console players for having to play that shit straight up. Like, ESO on PC has a million mods to enhance the game, to make it easier for you. And the console players, bro, sometimes I kind of feel bad, but envious at the same time that their shit is extremely earned in comparison to the PC players, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's been done a few times, and I'm always curious about how people like Final Fantasy. I used to play Final Fantasy on, I think it was my Xbox 360. I was playing Final Fantasy, and I'd be playing WoW on the computer, and I'd be playing like both at the same time, and I felt like a fucking god. But I can't really remember how good that game was because my brain wasn't fully developed and I was mostly playing WoW. But when you look at Diablo 3, for example, Diablo 3, when they ported it onto the Switch, it became a better game to me. Diablo 3 is kind of ass. Like, in a lot of ways, that game is not the best on PC when you can just play a slew of other ARPGs, which are just a lot stronger and have better progression systems. But when you can play it offline on an airplane, on a Switch, or when you're on the toilet or when you're on the subway, all of a sudden Diablo 3 is a very good game. And I'm kind of curious if more ports like that and if more cross-platform play is kind of the solution for some of these games moving forward.
Especially for just like elements of games, right? For like WoW, you could have like pet battles, or you could be able to go doing dailies or something like that on your phone, and they could make an interface for that. I don't know. I think more phone integration, like console and cross-platform integration, is really good for games. and I think it increases the player base by a huge amount.
Do you think that could, some people would say when they look at a game, their first thought, or not their first thought, but if a game is not graphically up to par, they think, oh, this looks like a mobile game. Do you think that would hold an MMO back, like in the way that you would say it was like that would correlate with an MMO? Sorry about my cat.
It's all right.
In the way that it's like, it would dumb down the PC version a little too much to me. You know what I'm saying?
I
you know,
think
like
that it
some games do that.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, I'm sure it could, maybe a little bit, but I feel like especially you just have to be more innovative with how you design the interface. And, you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like, yeah, that could happen, but it depends on each game. It is something I would worry about with WoW, though. And
you know what?
Blizzard said multiple times they're not doing it, so who knows?
Well, I'm concerned with like the graphics with Ashes, though. For example, I've always thought, and I think I've talked about this with Asmon before. I'm not 100% sure. I've always been of the mindset, though, if a game's going to last the test of time, it cannot have realistic graphics. It needs to have very stylized graphics.
That's so funny. I think the same way. I like World of Warcraft type of graphics way more than something like FF14 or something like that's like realistic as fuck. I don't like that look, actually. ESO has that real look, and I'm not a huge fan.
Well, look at it this way. I think the real reason that it happens and that multiple people kind of feel the same way is because it has its own style. If it's more cartoony, like think about like League of Legends, for example, think about World of Warcraft. So it has something that you can relate to, but also that can grow over time and it doesn't get outdated. When you look at the games that are successful, like if you ever look at Twitch, all of the games that are successful that have realistic graphics have a new title come out every single year. So like Call of Duty always has new graphics, but those can constantly update because it has that release schedule. If you look at other games with realistic graphics, they tend to phase out because they don't have that update. They release the graphics. There's always going to be better graphics. We thought that the graphics to Spider-Man on the PlayStation were sick when we were kids. The next game will always have better graphics. So if you pride yourself on having quote unquote good graphics, you're always going to get beat within the next year.
Yeah, good graphics always turn into bad graphics, but stylized graphics stay good for longer periods of time.
Do you guys remember Beautiful Joe?
Yeah.
Dude, that game still looks fucking awesome
And
today.
Wind Waker, that's
Beautiful
another
Joe.
one.
Yep.
Wind Waker, yeah. Wind Waker's a good one. I like Sea of Thieves art style, too, actually, that I think will be just fine.
Yeah, and that'll be good forever, basically. I mean, people are going to like watching that, 20 years from now. It's not going to show its age in the same way. And the other thing is, like, the games with their, supposedly realistic, a lot of them actually aren't realistic. They just look like shit. It's just they're trying to be more like a person. It's like they don't actually look that good at all, especially, like, for the MMO games.
They just give you that real look.
Yeah, yeah.
But not good looking.
Yeah, I mean, I think some degree of escapism with like having good graphics is important, but it's not really that important to me. But I also didn't play RuneScape because I thought the graphics sucked, so there is a line.
Okay, well, RuneScape, I would say, is definitely in its own beast of shit graphics, personally. I don't know if you played 3 or OSRS, but they're both kind of bad.
Yeah.
Have you seen Titan? What was it? Titan? I don't know if you keep up with Lazy Peon's videos, but he did a video on some indie game or some indie company. These guys are doing like a pretty nice looking new third person version of their idea of RuneScape. I imagine. I mean, I think it's called like Titan Reach.
Oh yeah, the RuneScape OSRS remastered or whatever. I watched the video on that a couple of days ago.
Wait, you reacted to it on stream?
Yeah, imagine that.
Shit, I thought I was gonna get to react to it before you did.
Yeah.
It looks cool in my opinion. I mean, dude, their pickaxes are all big, right? He's like holding it over his shoulder, and it's like fucking humongous, and like it's pretty cool looking. Like the graphics, let's say, just how we were talking, it's got like an interesting style that may not be one of the ones that would last the test of time, but it's got that RuneScape look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
RuneScape is charming with how bad it is, right? Like I enjoy RuneScape graphics because it's so bad. It's like it's quaint. I actually really enjoy it. But yeah, you go back to like a lot of those old games, and the art styles do hold up over the test of time. And if you're going for something super realistic, it feels like you are just you have a timeline, you have a shelf life. That's one of the things I'm nervous about with Ashes of Creation. To kind of bring
they did go very real looking route. You're not wrong.
I just don't know how long the graphics themselves will be able to remain interesting with that game. I do want to take kind of a second here now to chew on some of the things that we discussed and look ahead to Shadowlands and try to figure out how a player like you, Summit, would ever be drawn back into World of Warcraft. Because I feel like we're in a state here where a lot of the people who you thought would never leave the game still left the game.
Really?
And yeah, the game has a lot of work to do to actually get people back.
So what were like the big fails of the? Because I haven't played since like I haven't seriously played. I would say since Wrath of the Lich King, and I will come back and dabble into a high level character, get a max, and really just kind of fall off maybe after a week or two. You know, just kind of not really feeling it, and I'm not really sure why. What are the things that fucked up last patch and what are the things that you guys are like stoked about in Shadowlands? Because I really just not up to date.
Do you know anything about corruptions?
No, nothing.
Okay, so imagine having like a thing where the more powerful your corruptions are, the more damage and health that they deal back to you. It's like the more deadly they are. It's kind of like you're like making a pact with an old god, and the more of the items that you have that are corrupted, the more damage the pact will deal to you. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a ton of corruption and like you get hit by it at all, it'll just one-shot you. Versus, you know, if you hardly have any, it won't hardly do any damage to you at all. So what happened is that they added this into the game, and it effectively, like, for some people almost doubled their damage or increased their damage by like 1/3. And the way that it works is that it's just a die. Like, it's not even anything that's activatable or anything. So they've pretty much made it to where all of these different abilities and like cool corruption effects that you get are they're just random procs. And I think that's what I think people don't like, is that there's so much randomness involved with it that it makes playing the game not really as exciting, because you don't really feel like you're as in control of your character. And
so wait, you're saying that corruption
thing.
is like a double-edged sword? The more stuff you have, the more damage you're doing, the more damage you take?
Yes.
They did a very bad job though of making the kiss curse element interesting. I actually don't know if you've seen it yet, but have you seen that new game, Curse of the Dead Gods?
I haven't.
I'm not.
I sent it to you, Asmon. I've DM'd it to you 8 times and you've never looked at it. I keep sending it to you because I think you would really like playing it. I was like, dude, you should play this off stream, and then you won't answer, and then like 10 hours later I'll get a message like, fuck, dude, I'm hungry, dude. I'm like, completely didn't.
Well, I just got back from Wendy's, man. That shit was good.
It just strikes up a completely different conversation. It's like, ah, man, that was like 10 days ago. If I like start talking about that now, it would just be weird, right?
It's like I'm okay with some degree of like that kind of stuff, but I mean overall, like BFA has just been like one annoying feature after another, and I think like right now it just takes so long. Like if you ever wanted to get back into WoW, you'd have to play it like a full-time job, because it would take so much time to like gear out a character and like deal with all these like secondary systems and do like a bunch of repetitive stuff over and over and over. And it's just not really like the same fun gearing process that you used to have, because you have like all the in-game content, like, you know how you had your artifact weapon in Legion and, you know, Azerite gear now, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
The thing with like Curse of the reason I brought up that game, the reason I thought that was really cool is every time that you make a decision and get more, it's called corruption in that game as well. Every time that you make a decision for corruption, it's very obvious that you're making that decision towards corruption, but the corruptions themselves that you get are interesting. So every time you progress a little bit further or take a piece of gear, if you don't have enough gold to get the piece of gear, if you get to a vendor, you can buy the gear with your own blood, which causes you to get more and more corrupted. So it's like edgy as fuck, super cool.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and you're making that choice. You're like, should I be powerful now because it will affect me later? Every time you hit 100 corruption, you get an additional curse. The curses, though, actually give you some benefits as well. So there's this trade-off. It's that like semi-benefit, semi-negative, until you get all the way to the last curse. When you get to the last curse, it's called like the ultimate curse or something like that. And then you start losing health the entire time when you get to that curse.
Okay, so I'm like, where I'm confused at is like, what do you mean by, okay, when you say curses, this is like, Are these like is this during a raid? Is this like a debuff that is like a forever thing? Like, I don't understand completely.
Whenever
So
you
in
take
WoW,
damage,
if
yeah.
you put on a certain amount of corruption, if you put it on in
Okay, if
WoW, you
that
basically
has
have
to
a
do with
corruption
that has
level.
to do with the corruption. Gotcha.
Yeah. So in this other game, the reason that it's interesting is because there's a balance, but it ends, right? In WoW,
Okay.
kind of what you're getting to is like, wait, so when does this come into play? The second that you put that gear on, you're always that corrupted. So you're having an RNG effects constantly applied to you that are negative. And that's the reason why it doesn't necessarily feel fun, because what it turns into is if you're over corrupted in WoW, you're going to have random things from beyond that walk at you that you need to run away from, and they're faster
Okay.
depending on how much corruption you have. You're going to have bad circles on the ground that you have to move out of, or they're just going to deal damage to you. And then when you get
Okay.
to a certain point where it becomes pretty much impossible to manage them,
So
every time you
what
get
is
hit
the
by them, you
overall
get more.
point of corrupting these pieces of gear? Is it like for massive DPS and like for raids and shit like that? Is it just like
Exactly.
keep up with that? Oh
Yeah.
man, that fucking blows, dude. That super blows.
It can be
I hate
really
that shit.
annoying.
I hate the, I really hate the feeling of always, ESO gives me this feeling, right? I can't just run around and relax and be like, oh, there's a guy, I want to go fight him. No, it's like you're always buffing yourself and always doing something. Sometimes I just want to relax, run around, chill out, not have to worry about stupid little things like that. Those little tiny things in games like that really kind of irk and bug me. You know what I mean? And that probably would be one of those things. The RNG random debuffs on you and shit. Oh, that would fucking murder my soul.
It can be really fucking annoying.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's just a big difference between challenge in a game and annoyance in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just feel like annoyances are really popular as well right now, and the actual challenges aren't there as much. And I feel like a lot of the times that we talk about games, and there are these little points of frustration that are just the same annoyances across titles. And I'm curious why they just get added into games over and over again. Because it's not like WoW. We obviously talk about WoW on this show, and we obviously, I would say, Asma and I probably are both complain about WoW at least 10 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like these decisions are only being made in WoW. Like, you can find them in other games as well. And it's just like, who is enjoying this shit and causing it to just be put in every single fucking game? It's driving me mental.
Well, it's like you have certain things put in the game. I think this is something that annoys a lot of people in WoW, where you have this shit put in the game, and it gets nerfed by like 50%. It gets nerfed by 60%. And you ask yourself, did anybody actually test this? Or did they just think to themselves, it'll be all right. Let's put it out there, see what happens. Because
Seems
that's
like a
pretty
good
much
number.
the way it feels.
He's just like, they just toss it out. He tosses it out. Hey, what percent should we get? Like 40 to 60. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, just throw it out there, dude. Yeah, it's like you don't make a decision that big without not having a very good starting point. And I think that's really the frustrating thing for a lot of players. Like with Shadowlands, how much have you kept up actually with what's happening with Shadowlands?
None, not at all. Not. I know it sounds kind of crappy, but all of my World of Warcraft comes from your channel on Smokey's monitor when I come out of my bedroom. You know what I mean? He's always got your ass up, and so I'm just that's what I know is going on. So mostly a bunch of dudes standing in circles with mounts and stuff, and like
I'm watching YouTube videos. Yeah, that's about it. Okay.
That's what I know about WoW.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, like, I feel like in general, it's just Shadowlands is looking. I'm excited for the game, but there's a couple of things that they are doing that just make me think, like, what you guys play the game? Like, what are you doing, man? And like, that's one of the main things that I'm excited about with like Ashes. Actually, is that with Ashes of Creation, I feel like it's actually being play tested, which is something that I feel like WoW has really lacked with like the past couple of expansions, is that things just go live and it seems like nobody's play tested it at all. But I do expect plenty of things to be broken in Ashes too, to be fair.
I have a question. What is your favorite expansion, and what is your problems with Classic?
My problems with Classic WoW is like certain classes just suck. Like Ret Paladins suck. Moonkins suck. Arms Warriors are not really as good as Fury Warriors. And also the gameplay it's very simple. It's so simple to the degree that it's not challenging and not rewarding to do it correctly. And in my opinion, I preferred the gameplay in like Wrath of the Lich King. Even Burning Crusade was better, but Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, and Legion to a lesser extent too. Like those 3 expansions I felt were the point where WoW was actually like in a fulfilling state. But with Classic, the content is very easy. The bosses are very easy, and obviously
it's just old, right? It's just
it just didn't age well.
If you look at Classic, you look at Burning Crusade, and you look at Wrath, all 3 of them did something perfectly, right? Like the overall experience of WoW and having that giant world, Classic is so incredible at having that all-encompassing feeling where you want to get lost in it. BC,
you always want to go back, right? There's still mounts and stuff to get and stuff like that. I loved Wrath of the Lich King for that reason, because you can always go back to the old shit. Super sick. Go on.
Well, yeah, that was the sick thing though, right? I mean, like when you look at Wrath, you still had the ability to go back into like that giant world, but Wrath did a lot of things really well with PvP. It did a lot of things well with endgame. It made a lot of things simpler that, as much as we talk about it being the beginning of the end, sometimes some of that simplicity was needed and some of that improvement was needed. And also it was kind of the moment of the modern tab targeting DPS rotation. Like the rotations became more complex in Wrath in a good way. And I feel like there was a really good balance struck with how hard a raid needed to be. When you look at some of the stuff after that, I think Legion and Mop were really good. And then after that, everything else was a lot rougher.
Drainer and stuff like that. Which one was Drainer? Warlords of Draenor.
5, I think expansion number 5 is right after Mists of Pandaria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question regarding RuneScape now. So what I have heard from RuneScape is that they were kind of in an interesting place where they went back and they got real popular, kind of like Classic did, right? They're like, oh, old school RuneScape, very, very popular. It's their more popular one, I imagine. They did something where like they went back to their old school, but then built off of it, right? In the way that they wanted to. Would you think that something like World of Warcraft could ever benefit from something like that? Like maybe they meet what the gaming industry considers the beginning of the end, what Rich said, right? Wrath of the Lich King, whatever patch they consider it, and then stop and then continue from there in a different direction completely from normal WoW. I mean, other than that, where does Classic go to besides BC. A waterfall, a deep end?
Goes to BC. I mean, I think people are going to want to play BC. Like I
mean, but after that is what I'm saying. After BC, after Wrath, after its progression, where does it go?
Fuck, dude. I don't know. I don't think they know. Honestly, I think they're just playing it by ear. I'd actually like to see Classic Plus personally, but the problem with Classic Plus is that the same problems that we have in retail WoW, there's no real expectation that those problems wouldn't also manifest themselves in Classic Plus, because it's the same audience that demanded a lot of the problems that retail WoW has, and also it's the same developers that created the same problems that retail WoW has. So I kind of worry about the idea of Classic Plus, but from an idealistic perspective, I would love to see it. That would be awesome.
Yeah. It's so funny that I feel the same way, but I feel like that a lot of the other community doesn't. Like when they brought Classic WoW back in only Classic WoW fashion, it was like I respected it, but in my mind, my thought was like I'd rather have some of the new school shit brought back with it. I want transmogs. I want like new crazy shit to be added into it that like was very beneficial in new WoW, because new WoW is not all bad. You know, it brought some cool ass shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, Classic WoW coming back wasn't ever gonna do it for me, but I would have liked to see something like what you said, Classic Plus.
It's funny because I do feel like the think you do but you don't mentality has a lot of merit to it, like in game design, because it's not the player's job to actually know exactly the answer to what they want, right? But it's their right to be like, yo, this shit sucks. Like, I'm not having fun with it. But a lot of the, like, it is kind of on the game developer to figure out what the community does want. In that particular scenario that was clipped from, obviously it was a very different context, but the idea of needing to look a little bit deeper to figure out what the player base wants, I think that is important. I personally, though, on transmogs, not to get caught up on this, but like I actually, if the game was ever remade, and if WoW 2 ever happened, if anything like Classic Plus ever happened, which I think could be really good, I would really hope that transmog was never in the game again. I actually am very anti-transmog.
Really? You're anti-transmog?
Yeah. Well, man, I'm anti-transmog.
It was cool. Like, transmog is good in a lot of ways, and it's bad in a lot of ways, right? Because it's like back in Classic WoW, like if you see something in Classic WoW, the appearance of the gear in itself is a reward. because instead of looking like a dipshit, you look like this awesome, you know, battle-hardened warrior because you have these cool pair of shoulders. And with classic, that happens. And if you have transmog, you just kind of remove that because everybody can just transmog another cool pair of shoulders instead that they had before. And you don't really have like that type of gear visual progression that your character makes. But I think that the best way for retail WoW to do it is I just like them to make really cool new sets, and then people want to wear the new sets. And they did that at the beginning of Draenor.
I would try to like counter that with something along the lines of like, I would say that yeah, you do progress in gear, and maybe that's fulfilling to some people. Like, hey, I want to get this set piece because I'm gonna look like a badass. But that has an ending to it. While I think that transmogs takes that ending and just takes it and progresses it into, you know, wherever the fuck you want it to. I do think there should be guidelines to it, like in ESO, for instance, or is it ESO? Yeah, in ESO, for instance, you can transmog anything you want to. So if I'm a cloth guy, I can still make my guy look like he's wearing heavy armor, which I think is a little bit unfair, personally. But I do personally think that transmog's kind of cool. So yeah,
I guess it's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, it provides a lot of content. I mean, I'm just saying that it's a trade-off.
Here's the weird thing,
absolutely, you're not wrong.
and the weird thing with transmog is transmog in modern WoW worked for multiple reasons. One of the reasons it worked really well was because there were already, like, when it came out, I think 10 years of game that already existed, maybe even more. So there was a lot of stuff to go back and farm, which provided additional content.
Such a good time for it to come out. You're right.
Yeah. So if a new game pops up, now you are gonna have like a very different dynamic. First of all, so I played City of Heroes a lot. I don't talk about it very often because like you're not really supposed to, but I still play private servers for City of Heroes. Like sometimes when I take a day off, like that's what I'm doing. And the game had a lot of really cool things with customization for characters that still aren't present in modern day MMORPGs. It did a lot of things with particle effects. You actually unlocked at certain moments in the game. It was like all of a sudden you hit a certain level and now your characters could wear capes. And there were moments like that throughout the game where it was like my achievements are shown on my character, but there's still a huge amount of customization. So people would strive for different things, but they would also be able to completely customize those things that they were getting.
I can completely understand where you guys are coming from, without a doubt, without a freaking doubt. So, I personally, when it comes to MMOs, I'm okay with or without the transmog personally. So whatever the game wants, I'm cool with. But yeah, I can see both sides of that easily.
Yeah, I
think progressing like your character from like 1 to 80 and seeing how he's changed, or whatever fucking level, and seeing how he changes as he goes is a very cool thing.
Yeah, I would say too.
That you don't
I
get
like that a lot.
in ESO, by the way. That's maybe you guys are right.
Yeah, that is true, right? Because in ESO the gear is just gonna look like instantly
nothing changes.
Set. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever your outfit that you chose is, even when you're putting other pieces of gear on, it's gonna keep that outfit.
Yeah, it's got its own positives and negatives. I think it's the same with a lot of things. I mean, like, I like the transmogs in retail WoW, and I think they probably did have to add transmog at some point, but it does seem like it's kind of disappointing that, you know, that you're not able to have, like, that same prestige associated with the gear that you actually have equipped. I don't know really which one's the right decision, but
what did Ashes end up wanting to do?
I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure that you're able to buy cosmetics in the shop, but you're also able to get cosmetics in the game too. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I think that game's gonna have to go kind of the PoE route, right? And I think in PoE it feels fine.
Yeah.
Like in PoE, you basically. I've spent a lot of money on PoE, right? And I've never been mad about it. I think GGG's my favorite game studio right now. Like, truth be told.
You know, everybody tells me when it comes to the, like, if it is almost unanimous, which in chat it's not easy to do. When it comes to PoE versus Diablo 3, almost everyone says PoE, in my chat at least.
Yeah.
I wish GGG made WoW. I'd be so happy. Like, they're great.
Think so, huh? I mean, dude. I mean, just when I don't know too much about it, but I have seen that game has gotten some crazy graphical increases. It looks more Diablo-esque nowadays, right? It didn't, at least from what I saw when it first started, didn't seem like that. And just looking at that huge, like, wheel or whatever the fuck talent tree line
Talent
thing you got
forest.
going on. It looks
Yeah.
like it goes far, you know. So it looks like you got some diverse shit, which is the more diverse an MMO, the more diverse, you know, the RPG, I think the better always, right? So that's kind of where I would like it to be.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, overall, I just really hope that like having just different kinds of gameplay like that and just like different things in general you can do, like that's kind of what I hope Ashes can be, like more than anything. It can be like an actual like experience rather than just like, you know, just PvP or just PvE, etc. But like an actual like
I want
alternate
everything.
world.
I want
Yeah.
everything. I want. And he sounds like he was gonna give everything. I want big sieges. I want small ass battlegrounds, 1v1 arenas, 2v2 arenas, 3v3 arenas.
Did you
You
ever
know,
play the
I want
Ashes
fucking
VR?
PvE bosses. I want world bosses. I want to kill some motherfuckers that are doing world bosses. You know, like everything, right?
Yeah.
Just you don't get that now though.
Did you ever play the Ashes BR?
I did not. How'd that go?
Not very good as far as I know. I never saw it, so I was like, I probably just didn't really get very well received.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's got an understanding that he knows that the combat of a game, at least MMOs, is the core element. You know what I mean? So hopefully they'll get it there.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then he said that at least he told me I think that Battle Royale was they got roasted for it, but was very beneficial to them and when it came to testing and learning some problems of their video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole thing is now I think it really started with the early access model, which is kind of cancerous, but the whole model of having like a lot of these games in early betas and early access. Now, anytime that a developer does something to genuinely test something, people just judge it like it's the game. The mentality's just completely changed, and I understand where that mentality came from, especially when early access was something that people started paying for. So now they're paying for a product, they have expectations of the product, but it's changed the entire lens in which people view anything that game developers do. And I think that it's good to have moments where the game isn't completely ready and it feels like dog shit, because then they can say, oh, this is the reason it feels like dog shit. This is what we need to fix.
Yeah, exactly.
True. But you could also say first impressions are pretty seriously important, especially in MMOs too. So
Well, that's why you have to have like only people in the alpha that are like they know what's going on, and that way you don't just open it up to everybody.
Bro.
Yeah,
NDAs are super important.
Because if people see that and then they like establish a perspective on it and they think it sucks and it makes the game look bad. It's actually a smart way to do it with the NDAs.
Agreed, 100%. I think they're necessary. There's been countless games that have come out before they were ready that I have completely thrown in the dumpster that people have come back like maybe a year or two later like, oh, this game is so good now, check it out. I'm just like, I'm good, you know.
No Man's Sky? Yeah, I hear that a lot about
Forest is the first one I think of, actually, the Forest.
Yeah.
Like, No Man's Sky is a perfect example as well.
Have either of you played
again,
No Man's Sky?
It's not enough to bring me back to even whatever the fuck it is now, to be honest.
I never have.
It's like I'll watch a video on No Man's Sky and I'll be like, yeah, man, it's such a feels good story, guys. Like the little guy can win. I'm never playing that shit.
Do you remember that? It was like, I can't remember what they were preaching, but it was like, there is so many planets. It's just impossible to find your friend. And the first day, these two guys were on the same spot, on the same planet, and they couldn't see each other. And it was just hilarious.
Yeah, dude. Like, and the whole thing is it was like the discussion of whether or not it was actually PvP or whatever. And it was just like, nope, they never actually gave a straight answer to it. I keep saying that when I go to Texas, I'll play it one day, like with Asmin and with SFan and like do a group playthrough, but I doubt we'll ever do it.
Where's the appeal? What would draw you into it now? Like,
I just don't give a shit,
you can see
man.
people now. You might be able to shoot at them.
Yeah, I just don't give a shit. I never gave a shit, honestly. I wasn't like one of the people that was super excited about it. I was like, oh, it's another spaceship game. Who cares? Like, I'm much more into the dragons and wizards and swords and shit. It's always been my thing.
Hell yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I actually, pretty much every genre has an area of appeal to me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to play a pirate game every now and then. Like, I've always wanted a pirate MMORPG.
Dude, right? That's what I'm saying. I feel you on that.
Did you ever play the Pirates of the Caribbean MMORPG?
You know what's funny is I never played it, but I did play it in a weird way. That's how to, okay. So I never actually officially made an account, but I used to frequently go to Disneyland, and I went into this place It was like a very much so futuristic electronics, things that are, just random shit. They had this fucking literal arcade machine that had
Wait,
Pirates of the
pulled the
Caribbean on
cannon.
it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wait,
It's
wait,
so
the one with
funny.
the ship that moved where you had to wear the glasses?
Oh, bro, you're thinking like I sat there and played this shit in Disneyland. I was there for Disneyland, but it was like, you'd run around on a beach, and I had no idea what it was about, but I know it was Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was an MMO, and it was on an arcade machine, and it was trippy.
It was Disney Quest, right? Dude, we were on it. We were supposed to be on a family vacation to Disney. My family's like pretty poor. Everybody had saved up. Like my dad worked his ass off, saved up for this forever, and I wouldn't leave the fucking arcade, dude. I ruined the whole family trip.
Oh
yeah.
shit.
I fucking ruined the whole thing. Dude, I'm such a dude. I watch One Piece like every fucking night. Like I'm a huge pirate nerd.
No shit.
Oh, dude, I'm a huge fucking pirate nerd, and I've literally always wanted a good pirate MMORPG. I played the Pirates of the Caribbean shit. I played
It's an untapped market for sure. No one's done it.
Yeah, but I like dork out over. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a weeb, but I dork out over all of that shit, like space stuff, pirate shit. Like anytime somebody does a theme really well, like that's the great part about video games, right? Is getting to go into like a completely different world, and I feel like so many of them are really untapped.
Oh, dude, the MMO for pirate games. I remember when Sea of Thieves first announced, and when I found out it was not like that, I was sad.
That's the first fucking thing that I thought, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, dude, this game is going to be like the pirate game. It's made by Microsoft. There's no way it's not going to be like some crazy expansive shit. And it's like, whenever I would watch you play Sea of Thieves, you'd just be hiding in somebody's basement waiting to steal their shit. And it was funny, dude. It was fun. I downloaded the game because of it. I was like, this actually could be fun to play. But I mean, it certainly wasn't the MMO, Pirates of the Caribbean massive naval warfare experience. Certainly wasn't that.
It definitely created its own interesting thing. I mean, dude, that whole sit behind there's just a certain feeling you get, and it's not that there's not many games that have it, where you can be so sneaky and so snuck onto a ship that I can stare into this guy's eyeballs and watch his whole team for hours, and they're just nonchalantly chilling, gaming with their boys, and have no idea that there's an assassin on their ship, that he has a full fucking galleon waiting, that's been lurking on them for the last hour, waiting for them to pick up this one chest that they think is going to be the greatest moment of their pirate life, and it is massacred. There's just no other feeling like it, and I can't explain it to you. You know what I mean? You're a literal stowaway on a ship, waiting to get this great treasure to steal, while your boys are waiting to fucking slam the trap on them. I love it.
I swear, it's the patience aspect too. It's like that's not in other games.
You just wait them out, man. Wait them out. It's the same thing in PUBG.
It's like the information gathering and stuff, dude. It's like real pirate shit. Like, yo, what are they doing? Like, what part of the quest are they on? Yo, how far are they from getting this Athena? Should we be rolling on them right now? You know what I mean? Oh man, the timing is everything, dude. Because you literally have like a 5-minute window from when they get that chest and when they're fucking turning it in. You know what I'm saying? So it's all info. I love it.
Yeah, I get that, man. I remember like it was one of the most rewarding things is to just be like having like some shootout with a guy in PUBG and just like and just be able to outweight him. And it's like and him thinking there's no way this dude waited 5 minutes behind a tree for me to be there. And he runs by, I'm like, bitch, yes I did. And it just feels so good. Like it's so fulfilling, man. Just
guys like you have made me rage off that game quite a few times.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's a lot of fun.
It's one of the good things about PUBG though. It's like our games like that. It's like it allows you to play it in ways that you want to. You know what I mean? If you're not a great shooter,
it has a human element.
You can still shoot people.
That's exactly why I had to do it that way. That's exactly why.
It works.
And would you?
Yeah, in regard to the MMO like pirate game, I think just MMOs are such a scary game to take on in general. That adding a theme on top of it is just like, oh shit, dude, we have to take on an MMO, but now you want to throw ships in there, you want to shoot cannons at each other. It's not enough that you want to do some bosses and have some PvP, and you want pirate ships. I feel like that's a tall order for some companies, without a doubt. You know,
no doubt. I mean, like, what do you think about New World? Oh, we didn't talk about that one.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Isn't it kind of Dark Souls-y? I heard it. Like, I've seen some videos, and I've seen someone make a comparison to Dark Souls, and that interests me. No, so I'm not 100% if that's the way it's going, but I mean, I always thought a Dark Souls MMO would be sick. I don't know if you guys ever did any PvP in Dark Souls.
Dude, it's so fun whenever you don't get hit, whenever you're not supposed to get hit.
Oh,
That
yeah.
part's
Oh, yeah,
not
absolutely. They got lag problems without a doubt. Listen, hey,
Yeah.
listen, I have a question for you, Asman.
Okay.
And because I've always talked to my channel about this, but it seems to be a very unpopular opinion, and I get shot down very quickly.
All right.
I think that future MMOs should have some sort of aspect of being able to say, like, you guys are doing like dungeons, you have your 5 guys, oh, you're doing Mythic Plus, bro, you guys do Mythic Plus all the time, but you guys happen to like PvPing as well. Maybe there's another option that's Mythic Plus, like says like open or something like that. And what that means is like you can get better gear and it'll be more difficult than even Mythic Plus, but you also have an opportunity like something like Dark Souls where you can be infiltrated by another crew and have that dungeon stolen from you and the rewards taken from you.
So that was what islands were supposed to be in BFA. And they turned into dog shit, but I love that idea. I think that's really cool. Like PvP dungeon races where you're able to affect the other team, that'd be fucking awesome.
Absolutely. Kind of like Destiny. You can even think of it as like a Destiny way too, or if you wanted to go, like there's different ways that you can implement it, right? Even in Destiny, there was like a PvP thing or a PvE thing, but you're technically racing against another team, and every once in a while, one of your players on the team would be able to port over to their side and fuck up their fight, or try to kill some guys off, or maybe kill their tank while he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
stun
that sort of
him or
thing,
something.
you know? Oh, I would love to see that in an MMO, man.
I think they need to have like more counterplay like that and like crossplay like that too, because it just like right now for like the MDI, which is like the Mythic Dungeon race thing that WoW has, oh, it's so fucking boring. Like, if they could just bring somebody over to the other side and, like, just randomly, you know, the mage shows up and he pops all his cooldowns on the healer and tries to kill the healer on the other team, that'd be fucking hilarious. And, like, I love watching those invasion videos in Dark Souls. It's, like, especially whenever somebody's, like, trying to go up a ladder and, like, they're having, like, somebody shoot at them from behind. And so they're going up by the ladder, but whenever they get up to the top, there's just a guy sitting there with the double shield, and he won't let him go up the ladder. And so the guy just sits there at the top of the ladder and gets shot from the back and falls down and dies. Like, that shit is so fucking funny, man. I would love to see that.
It's Dark Souls definitely got that interesting thing. The infiltration thing is very intriguing, I think.
Well, with all of that, right? When you talk about what we just mentioned with Sea of Thieves, when you talk about Dark Souls, when you talk about the idea for maybe adding something like that in an MMORPG, the added value to all of those systems that don't really exist in WoW right now is a level of unpredictability. When you look at the way that dungeon races work right now, you know everything that's going to happen. It is all completely scripted, right? And I feel like some of the things with WoW that make the world feel a little bit smaller is the fact that all of the RNG that comes into play is off of loot drops and your own damage rotation, and the world itself tends to, over time, feel like something you've already mastered.
True. I can agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah, I can too. I mean, like, I want to see a point where, like, I agree with you, Summit. Like, I don't know how many fucking times, by the way, I have said to my stream that if they ever did a Kickstarter for a Dark Souls MMO, I'd just immediately like, okay, yep, give me here's money.
Be interesting, right?
Please,
absolutely, I agree.
Please do that.
Can you guys do me a favor? I feel like my mic is fucking up, and I feel like it's on my camera this whole fucking time. Can you do me a favor? I'm gonna try something real fast.
All right.
See if you can hear.
Can't hear you now. Can't hear anything.
Well, it's not popping anymore. Oh, no, now I can hear you.
But yeah, it wasn't popping because it didn't do anything. I can hear you
now. Is it okay? Does it still sound fucked up?
We'll know in a minute.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, there's a few people. Like, it's not that bad. I wouldn't worry about
this. Thing always messes up because I plug my I take my freaking webcam out of my streaming PC and plug it into my gaming PC, and then it just fucks up all my audio on my gaming PC. And, like,
really? Oh, damn. Why you do that?
I don't know. I should just go get another camera so I don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that, dude.
We are getting to the point where usually we start to do, some of the questions from everybody who's watching. So I do want to start peeking around. If you guys haven't already, you can tweet at like the three of us, and I'll find it, or you can use the hashtag Allcraft. Also, we'll be taking some questions out of the chat, out of the Discord. If you have any questions about just about anything really. This has been a really nice episode because it's nice to get to talk about other things besides just WoW Summit. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
You guys just do the WoW stuff. Yeah, man. It's interesting to hear about WoW, to be honest, because I really haven't followed it in so long.
Well,
ever since they've been doing a lot of weird things. Like remember, like how you were saying earlier, Asmund, how they had that one expansion where you were like working on your weapon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yep, it's still bullshit,
like
just like usual, and people are pissed off about it, just like usual. It's the same as always. Nothing's changed,
I feel like
man.
it's an impossibly tall order for World of Warcraft. You know?
Oh man, they're never gonna make people happy with that shit. Like I said, somebody in chat, how a naval, like, do they have naval battles in ESO?
I don't think so.
What a fucking disappointment, dude. Like that, dude. Like that's one of the things. Whenever Steven was like, "Yeah, of course there's gonna be Krakens," like I was like, "Yes." Dude.
Is that what he said? Really? There's gonna be Krakens?
Yeah,
That's so funny.
like
You know,
it's
good that he's taking a lot of his ideas. It feels like, or like his love of Arcage, because I had heard a lot of great things about Arcage, but they had botched it by pay to win in the F out of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, did you ever play the new one that came out? The Arcage, like I don't know, like Reforged or whatever. It came out like
they came out with like a server or two, right?
Yeah,
with
something like that.
So that came out, and I had been trying to get on those servers for like 4 straight days and couldn't do it because they were so packed. So people obviously were loving it, but I had heard that later on they had paid to win those ones up too. But I think people fucking, I mean, obviously there's a very much demand for it because I couldn't even get in the server for 4 freaking days. It was crazy. So yeah, I think if he takes ideas from Arcade, shit, man, it's like that's already like guaranteed partial success on those portions of the game. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's funny too. Even when I'm looking at these questions right now, like so many of the questions are based off of older games. I feel like there's so much attention on some of the older MMOs. Like this first, it isn't even really fully a question, but I think it is interesting to talk about. It says what Summit said about PvP dungeons was actually a thing over 15 years ago in Dark Ages of Camelot. It was called Darkness Falls. Yeah, and I actually do remember seeing the Darkness Falls thing. Like I've seen it linked before, and I'm curious why there is such a resurgence right now, or why you guys think there is such a resurgence with all of these things starting to come back to the forefront from some of these. Like you look at Dark Age of Camelot, you look at some of these I know like Ultima Online has been coming up a lot when we're seeing games like Ashes of Creation being made. What do you guys think it is that's making us start to move back in those directions?
Why are people wanting to see that more?
Fed up?
You're fucking bored.
Yeah, they like some of the old concepts that don't even come close to getting into the new MMOs.
I think that's basically it. Yeah, and like new technology too. I think that's what people are saying. I agree with that too.
True. Things are a different place now. It may be it might be like time for one of those resurgences. Like shit.
Yeah.
But that's also one of those games, the one you were talking about, that completely goes hardcore and almost has no casual elements to it, as far as I know. Because that's I'm pretty sure a full loot drop, full like skill shot aiming MMO. Am I wrong?
Which one? Arcage?
No, Unchained.
Dude, like I think
Camelot
so, but that shit was like a long time ago. It was like 20 years ago. I don't remember that game at all.
I just remember seeing a lot of like shooting magic at each other, crazy movement abilities, and shooting bows at each other, but actually physically aiming in first person and shit. And when dudes die, you drop everything, man, and that is not common in an MMO. You know?
No, it is
especially on dungeon infiltrating. That's crazy.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. I want to see, like, honestly, man, I would love to see more of that kind of content in a game because it just makes it more dynamic. Like I don't like having the time where like you go into a dungeon and you know like every single little thing that's gonna happen. It's like that's cool, but whenever everybody knows that, it's not just because you're really good at the game. You know that it just gets boring.
Mm-hmm. Didn't Ashes of Creation say they were gonna do some procedural stuff, or am I hearing wrong? Did I remember wrong?
I don't remember that.
I didn't hear anything about proc, like actual proc gen, but they have a kind of like it's basically a manager inside of the dungeons, which is going to make stuff feel like it's not the same every single time. So the manager's basically inside, and like, let's say your raid group absolutely shits on one of the bosses. The bosses later on will actually take that into account and change how they fight against you. and
Oh,
will
no
also
shit.
which is cool. It seems like it has a lot of potential, and it will change what they drop as well.
Oh, that's right. Are you talking about how fast you shit on them, basically?
Yeah, they
Pretty
said it
much.
won't just be speed as well, is one of the things that Steven started to say. It's just like
Oh.
it's like multiple things will be taken into account. I think the thing is the world doesn't need to necessarily be proc gen because of how it changes, and all the world states could just end up being different with pretty much every single day.
The nodes kind of handle that one pretty much on its own, essentially. Dude, I want to see when the nodes start to collide with each other, man. It's like you've participated in this one node and you have your shit kind of tied up in it, and this other node is blocking your build. And it's like now you have a reason to go F these fools up, and they have a reason to defend, right? And I also like that they have it spaced out. It's not like, oh, I can just go attack these guys when they're not there, every 3 hours or whatever. It's like, it's like you're on like 5 days from now, we're gonna be fucking your city up. Show up, or you're gonna lose your stuff.
Well,
I like that idea.
Because like you do that pussy shit where you show up at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's like,
oh, dude, have you played Rust? Have you played Rust?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, I haven't played it. I've seen how it happens. Yeah,
Oh
it's
man,
so dumb,
dude, I remember I used to play Rust, and I would have to build a new house every day. And I remember one night being fed up. I had built like fucking 20 doors in this motherfucker, dude. And I went to sleep in my chair, reclined it, kept my headphones on with the game loaded, and waited for someone to wake me up with a raid, bro. And sure as shit, these two little motherfuckers come by, and I hear them talking. They're like, yeah, this is his house. Yeah, we're raiding. And I woke up, and I was like, you motherfuckers better leave. Oh, man.
Did they?
Yeah, fuck yeah, they left. I was
Right.
actually decent at the game at the time, you know what I mean? So I was ready to fuck some fools up, I was playing it a lot.
Yeah, that's just fucking amazing. Like, I love that, honestly. Like, that kind of content that's what, in my opinion, makes streaming. Is like to see that just like that completely spontaneous like interaction. Like, that was one of the most fun things for me to see. Like, same as whenever you steal people's shit and Sea of Thieves. Like, it's just funny to
watch. And like random guy starts spouting on the mic or something like that.
Yeah, he pops
dude,
off.
to see these funny shit is so funny.
Oh man, I
Call
love
of Duty too. Call of Duty, they get like that little 2 seconds clip, and you'll hear someone go like "fuck" or something like that. Like after you kill him.
Did you ever see the video that I did where I just ran people over in a truck?
You did that? Oh, dude.
It was an 18. I literally made an 18-minute video, and I would run over whole squads in just the truck. And I would do
the one that had the back open, right? That oh man, Big Bertha.
Big Bertha. Oh yeah, coming on through, man. And I remember like every time I would kill somebody, and then their mic would open, and they'd just be like, just fucking pissed off or fucking yelling or like, "Fuck you, bitch." And they're like, "Oh man," like I kill one of them, and I hear like, "Oh, he got me," and then I kill the other one. He's like, "Man, dude. He got me too, dude."
It's so funny. You'll hear people like that. You swear people they just quit the game. They'll just be like, "I'm fucking done" or something. Oh, it's so good. I like watching the Call of Duty streams for that reason alone. Is pretty funny.
Dude, my roommate actually doesn't play video games at all, and he just started playing Warzone, and he's terrible. Like he can't do anything, right? Like he has no experience playing video games. He like can't figure it out. He like can't even use a controller. And I actually showed him the Asmongold video. I was like, "This is what you need to try to do. This is what skillless players do." Like, do this. Like, he's gonna learn how to drive, dude. He's gonna be.
I feel like you improved his game 100% without a doubt.
I mean, I would get like 15 kill games. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like 15 kill games, and I had like all these methodologies of how I would do it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna wait right here, pretend like I'm not in the truck, then I get in the truck, and then I fucking run them over. Oh, it was great, man. I loved it.
So good, so good. I mean, dude, that was the literal meta for the kill tournaments when Call of Duty first came out. Was get a truck, and one person gets a truck and just goes and tries to run over teams. You know what I mean? They just go get kills with the truck. Oh, it's crazy.
Is it still really good, or did they nerf it?
I know they've nerfed it a little bit. I just don't know how much. I'm sure it's still good, but I know it doesn't have as good of a turning radius anymore, which sounds to me like it's not nearly as good,
Yeah.
I mean, that thing used to turn on a fucking dime if you turned it backwards, like you run people backwards.
It was amazing. Rich, you have a question?
Yeah, so this one's come up quite a few times, and we've obviously talked about it a little bit, but this is for Summit. Quite a few people have asked, if you had to pick one thing, like only one thing to be put in Shadowlands to bring you back to the game, what would it be? Like one feature.
I mean, dude, I just want the best possible open world PvP experience you can have. That's all I want out of an MMO. Like, not even all I want, obviously, but the main ingredient for an MMO for me to find it fun is open world PvP.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what I need. And you know, I miss Classic for that reason. Being in Stranglethorn, seeing some fucking guy, some hunter doing his quest, and rolling up behind him and killing that fool, that's the best feeling I'll ever have. It didn't take any skill. No, who cares? I killed this guy and affected his life while he had no fucking idea that it was coming. And that's the feeling I love so much, you know?
Have you seen what happened with the 10-hour war on Sulfuros?
Oh, jeez.
No. Tell me.
Yeah,
so there was a Scarab Lord, right? The title Scarab Lord and opening the gates of AQ.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So there was this one guild this was an alliance guild, I'm pretty sure, who decided that instead of actually doing it legitimately and letting other people on the server get Scarab Lord, what they would do is all collectively file false reports onto the other faction guilds and other Scarab Lords on the server. So there could be fewer Scarab Lords, and then theirs would mean more and have more prestige because there'd be less of them. So the war for the opening of the gates comes out, and you have to talk to a certain NPC that will allow you to complete the quest. And the entire opposite faction, for the entire 10-hour duration of the event, did not let them turn in a single Scarab Lord quest.
No
The entire server
Dude,
went out
so
of their
bad.
way to stop it from happening.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link in our chat right now. This is like an article that Wildhead did on it. It has like some pictures from where.
So let me say this. The false reporting stuff, I'm not on board with.
What a bunch of rats.
But the whole like camping a spot trying to get key, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of interesting. But the whole reporting thing is stupid as fuck. Don't get me wrong.
I didn't even know that the reporting aspect of it happened. I just knew about
it was
the
great.
10 hours of not letting anybody turn in the quest. Like, it's
Are
crazy.
people like really mad about that, or
There are
how do
some
you guys
people
feel
that
about
were
it?
absolutely like. I thought it was kind of funny that it happened. I mean, like those fuckers should be glad they're not banned. Okay,
True.
Like if you're
True.
sending in false reports, fuck off, dude.
That's
like,
exactly.
I don't care what
That's
happens
stupid.
to you.
That's stupid. But
Yep.
holding down a quest NPC to make sure your title's more prestigious, it's interesting. I find it interesting.
It's certainly more acceptable than reporting people for bullshit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I remember
100%.
seeing a video, like, what was it called? There was like this dinosaur, this type of dinosaur in
The Devil
Classic
Sword
WoW.
Mafia.
The Devil Sword Mafia. Have you seen that video?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen
So
it.
I
It was on my
think
server.
shit like that is great. I think
Seen
it's
it.
great.
We lived it.
Yeah, we had to deal with that shit all the time.
Angora was wild. Angora is always wild. But the thing is like a commodity needs to have a certain amount of value for people to do this, right?
Mhm.
Like, so Scarab Lord, the whole reason this war is interesting is because you only have an opportunity to get it once. But that does create some of the obvious bad feeling moments for all the people who didn't get Scarab Lord now.
Absolutely.
So it's like, what is the balance for something like this?
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's like
You don't want people to quit your game, right? And that definitely caused some motherfuckers to quit the game if you couldn't get that for 10 straight hours, man. Yeah, dude, like nobody turned one in. They had it that locked down.
Well, it wasn't
like, you couldn't
anybody.
fucking sneak in on a goddamn rogue and turn your quest in. Like, people couldn't figure that out.
Well, what it was is that the entire server turned against the guild that was doing the false reports. So they all tried to stop them from getting their turn-ins because that guild was trying to make their Scarab Lords more prestigious.
Oh, so I'm seeing it the opposite way. You're saying the server stopped the guild.
Yes.
No,
the server
that's
stopped the fucking guild.
crazy.
They're like,
What?
fuck you guys, you cheating pieces of shit. We're not going to let you get a single Scarab Lord.
That's crazy. That I
awesome.
find that to be even 10 times more interesting, to be honest now. Wow. I think that's cool as hell, personally.
Yeah.
Then it got cranked up to the umpth degree, from what I understand too, where it was just an all-out bloodbath too.
I love
Like,
it. I love that. I think that sounds like the coolest shit ever. But obviously not on the footstep or on the steps of false reporting. You know, it's kind of stupid, but it is pretty fucking cool that they stopped them from getting that shit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Damn, not a single one of them. Is that reported? Like, not a single fucking one of them got one, or
As
maybe
far
one or
as-
two slipped in.
I
Yeah,
know
as far
somebody
as I
who was
know.
like legitimately trying to get Scarab Lord and was ready to get Scarab Lord on the server, and they like with one other person, and they weren't able to turn in the quest.
They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Did they try for 10 hours?
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
literally
they
like
did.
they
I mean,
actually just
trust
sent
me,
me a
that quest
message
took
today,
forever.
and they were just like, "Do you think anything's gonna happen with this, or do you think this is just what it is?" I was like,
Oh, they're sad they didn't get their title, and they're hoping that something would happen.
"Yeah,"
Oh, so
and
that's the
they
other
weren't
end of it.
involved. Yeah, they weren't involved with anything that like I didn't even know the side that Asma was talking about with the false reporting and stuff. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
heard about the
So they just
bloodbath.
happen to be on the wrong faction on the wrong fucking server.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of sucks for them, but you know, it's like that's what happens in those kinds of games. I think like really griefing and that kind of stuff, like it can be cool in like some ways, and then it can also get like overwhelming to where like people do quit the game over it.
I mean, 10 hours is a long fucking time.
That's
man.
a long
That's
fucking
a long
time.
time.
Yeah,
Well, it
that's
was
a long
even
time.
there's more work before even that, right? Like they were probably Asma knows better than me, but I mean, how long do you think they had to grind even before they were turning in stuff like that?
You mean
Like,
the Scarabs?
To get that title, like turning.
Oh, dude! Like this is like a collective of like 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
No way.
Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe only 500, right? But it was a
That's
huge
still even
fucking
anything
time
like in the
investment.
hundreds is nutty.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
Oh,
And then also,
dude.
Turn
So,
to the
okay, so
ground.
this goes a lot deeper than I thought. Man, that
yeah.
sucks, bro. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make fun so quickly. You know what I mean? That's rough.
Yep.
Yeah, they put in like a lot of time, and then there was the 10-hour war where they just couldn't turn in the quest.
Man,
It's
dude, I
like-
would have been. Oh, dude, I would have been logging on to the other side, being like, "Come on, bro, let me in,
Come on,
please,
man,
dude. I
just
don't
one
even know
time,
these
man,
guys." You know what I mean?
I ain't with them. I don't know them, man. Come on, dude. Just come on. Let me get one. Let's get one
Dude,
out,
what
man.
do I gotta do,
Yeah.
bro? I'll meet you on a mountaintop, okay? At fucking 0300. You can
Yeah.
escort me there. You know, like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it sucks.
So this is kind of a very off, like very different direction,
Yeah.
for a question, but this one's directed to Summit. It says, why don't you try games like Baldur's Gate and Pathfinder Kingdom and stuff like that? Which it's
That
like,
would be because I have no idea what those games are.
No,
Baldur's
they're-
Gate, I've heard of.
they are super nerdy. McConnell and I actually played a game like it recently, Divinity, but it is like a Dungeons and Dragons game. I was kind of curious.
Really?
Well, yeah, I was curious if like you had said anything that provoked that question. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Yeah, because
I
that's
think
like
probably just the MMO thing. People know I got the MMO itch going on, so I'm just like fucking around on MMOs right now, just kind of killing my channel every day. So you know, that's
Yeah.
probably why.
dude, Baldur's Gate 3 actually was supposed to come out this
And that's an
month.
MMO.
No. It's like super nerdy Dungeons and Dragons kind of style of
It's
game.
turn-based.
But
too.
yeah, it got postponed though. It actually does look really good.
Yeah.
I think Asma would actually like Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I would. Yeah.
Where
What
do you gun to head? Where do you put your faith on success? At New World, or do you put it on Ashes of
Are you
Creation?
kidding me? It's obviously Ashes of Creation. Like
Ashes,
New World
think
is
so?
like one of those things where like the more we see of it, the worse it looks.
Think so?
Yeah.
What about the money factor?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's Amazon. They got the blank check, bro. Endless amounts of money to make their game.
Blizzard
good,
has a
right?
lot of money too, but they still managed to fuck up BFA.
Yeah, I guess you're right. True.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Usually
dude,
the people
in
with
the
a lot of
MMO world,
money-
especially in the MMO world, especially, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you have so much history to look at and research to look at, statistics, all sorts of stuff that you can look at to kind of help find the right avenue for success. You know what I'm saying? There's basically studies there for you. You just have to dive in and do the research, right? That's where I think it's at, and I think that where a successful game could be, you gotta like form.
Well, I think that some of the problems that happen with that is there are like a lot of weird phenomena that happen that certain systems are always just going to be at dissonance with each other. So you see certain systems that go really well and they're in direct competition with the other systems that have done really well. I feel like that pops up all of the time. And then on top of that, it's really easy to go back and like even look at something like this right now from an outside perspective. Look at this like 10-hour war that just happened and go, yo, that's fucking epic. Like that's so cool. But if that happened nonstop, would people play a game like that? Like that is
well,
the
that's
question.
what happened with what do you call it, with phase 2 in classic WoW, is that it just went on day after day and people quit the game. So it's a matter of like frequency and severity. So like if you're just getting ganked and fucked with constantly and you can't do anything, like obviously you're probably going to stop playing that game. But if it happens sometimes and you have at least some control over it, then yeah, it'd be more enjoyable and more fun.
It's just like one of those things though, where it's like some of the things that failed are some of the things that appear successful in hindsight. Like after it's happened a long time ago, might fail today, right? I think it is hard to make those choices. This question is kind of in line with that. This one's from Andrew. He says, why do you guys think WildStar failed as a game?
Because it tried to focus on appealing to people that were unhappy with another game. And so it's like the people that would play WildStar were almost all people who just didn't like WoW. And it was marketed that way and designed that way to an extent. It was like, oh, wow, this is like a game that's, you know, hardcore like WoW used to be. And WoW was never really hardcore in that way. It was always a pretty easy game to play. It just took a good amount of time investment. And WildStar is probably just focusing on the wrong aspects of WoW. I think people play MMOs for like social reasons more so than like difficulty or like challenging reasons.
Would you say that FF14 does a good job then when it comes to social reasons?
From everything that I hear, yes. But I haven't played it myself.
I don't know how a game could possibly be successful with, I mean, dude, from what I've heard on FF14, pretty much no PvP. And it's like almost everybody that goes over there is very, very PvE-esque and more than likely not even into PvP at all. So to like corner that market is pretty incredible that their shit's got to be on point, you know?
Yeah, it does feel that way to me too. I'd agree with that.
I think it's just a game about like it's like a furry simulator, right? And you just craft gear and have cat ears. Like I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but they just have to have a sense of community like no other MMO. This is why else would they, you know, stick around for that? I don't know. I can't see it unless there was either extremely good PvE, which I've seen some of those dungeons, and they don't look like they're far in between, much different than World of Warcraft's. In fact, I would say World of Warcraft's is, you know, far and beyond more technical. You know what I mean? When it comes to you know, I don't know what the fucking word I'm looking for. Aspects in a boss fight. You know what I'm saying?
Mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics. Thank you. And I mean, dude, their shit's either got to be extremely social and enjoyable to just hang out in, or their PvE is fucking great, right? Because what else do they have?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
I've always said I wanted to play it and like do a playthrough, but it's one of those games too, though, where the playthrough would take so long that I think a lot of people would probably lose interest if they were watching.
Yeah, people like to just play for like a couple of days and then, you know, the interest does kind of wane, especially for games that you kind of have to have like contextual understanding of like previous streams for. But yeah, I mean, I do kind of like the idea of like trying out Final Fantasy and seeing what's going to be. Somebody, you going to play it?
Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Is there something coming out for it? I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna do FF14. I'm very PvP heavy, and like the PvE is like a bonus for me. I love PvE. Don't get me wrong, but if it doesn't have PvP to sit on top of, solid, I'm not about it. You know what I mean?
I see that. All right, makes sense.
It's like one of the reasons that I think that, you know, remember when like Division came out and it was like a shooting game. And it had PvE and it had PvP, and then that other game gets announced, where it was like they had like flying motherfuckers and it was third person. It's RPG Division-esque, but it only had PvE, and I immediately right there was like, okay, how can you possibly be successful if you're giving only half of a game? So what was that game called again? Do you guys remember that one? I'm sure Anthem is what it was called.
Oh yeah, that game was like super hyped up.
I feel like we're in a day and age where you can't cut it in half. Like you need both, man.
Yeah, I don't think anybody gives a shit about that game anymore. Like I don't even think the release was that good.
Well, so Anthem, if I remember correctly, one of the reasons Anthem actually did so poorly was it with the same studio, it released at like the same exact time as Apex, and Apex kind of won the war.
That's right.
I forgot all about that.
That was Division. I don't think that was Anthem. Division 2 got shafted on that fucking release.
That was like
Apex
the MMO type
dominated
game, right?
them.
It had like more MMO elements in Division.
Division is so Apex is just a battle royale, and
Yeah.
Division's just straight up. They try to go MMO. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Okay, that's what I thought.
but they got completely overshadowed, I remember, by Apex. In fact, I didn't even bother with Division 2, and I was planning on it for months.
Yeah, just because Apex popped
and
out
I
of
just
nowhere.
fucking dove into Apex.
That game was insane. I loved Apex.
Dude, it was owning. When it first came out, it was so fun, free to play. It had classes that were fun. The freaking you got to shoot people in the face.
The
It's
crazy
battle royale
thing,
with 3 people.
The crazy thing about it was like the game worked. Which,
Yeah,
like,
what?
back then,
It
yeah,
worked
remember that?
on release.
Yeah, it worked on release. You didn't have some fucking building bullshit to deal with. You weren't getting shot through walls. It was just functional and good. Like, I was
Good
so happy
timing
about
on
that.
Apex, man.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Rich, you want to do one more question?
Yeah, I'm just
Let's
curious
go.
though. What do you guys think happened to Apex? Like,
People
why did it
got
die? Like, it
bored,
fell
like-
off fast.
And people got bored. And Warzone is just better. And also Apex.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into the specifics, it's because Apex doesn't have enough gun diversity. And also you see so many of the same guns that every match, the second half of every match, always feels the same because you have the same exact tools every single time. PUBG is much more dynamic in that way because they're not every single time you're going to get a Car 98. Not every single time you might get an M4. Sometimes you'll have to use an M16 or an AK or something like that. And so, and then you have the crate guns that are on top of that. They're just the crate guns with Apex were not really as substantial besides the Kraber compared to the
Every
the
sniper in Call of Duty.
Yeah, and like also with COD, like now that Warzone is out, Warzone, I've said this before, like I really think Warzone is the best BR ever made. Like
Yeah, I agree with
just
that.
amazing. Like it is an amazing, great game. Like no question.
I think there's
about
problems with it. I think, but I think that those
I agree with
problems
that.
are just like my competitive side. I think when it comes to Call of Duty, it's like it's made in a way that Asman was kind of talking about, where there's enough diversity in a battle royale, which is essentially just in nature very repetitive, doing the same shit over and over in a battle royale. I think it has enough diversity that it's still a good flavor every single day. You know what I mean? That you play it, so it's pretty nice. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many rooftops. You know, you don't know when people are going to be shooting at you. You don't know what.
There's
You don't
too
know.
many
It's
holes
got
that
more
can come
diversity than
from.
Apex for sure, without a doubt.
I think that urban combat in Warzone is not very good. It's because it just feels like there's too many ways that you can lose, and then also the kickback whenever you get shot just makes it to where like the person who opens fire first is usually going to win, and like that is kind of boring, or at least that's how it was whenever I was playing back in the day. And I haven't played it a lot recently. I actually probably should get back into Warzone now they have the new season out. Is it good? Have you played it?
I haven't played the new season. I know that
man,
I know Call of Duty's been looking pretty good, man. To be honest with you, it's been looking pretty decent.
That is a first COD game. Like I played Blackout. I thought that game was dog shit. Like that game was fucking. I hated it, man.
It didn't have what you were just. It didn't have any diversity. It's like
No,
you
it
would
was
get
the
into that
same
game and it'd just
shit.
be the same fucking shit. You know,
Yeah.
it'd just be boring.
I love Warzone. This is the first Call of Duty game I've played and I've enjoyed since Modern Warfare 2. It is fucking amazing.
I think they did a good job with it. Hopefully they'll it'll last. I think this is what Call of Duty wanted, right? They finally wanted to get their fucking foot in the door with a good AAA battle royale.
Well,
know,
they
the
have a
first one
game that's
failed.
popular on Twitch.
Wait, what's that?
They have a game that's popular on Twitch.
Yeah, honestly, I mean they've always kind of had. I mean, right? It comes out yearly, so they get their little
Yeah.
bursts for a month here and there, right? But then it just kind of subsides back to a top 16 game, top 12 game.
Yeah, I think the weird thing that always happened with Call of Duty too, I think that there was always kind of this impact with like MLG TV and like all of those things that had happened back in the day where the Twitch culture of the directory was always weird. And I feel like this was a big restart for it and it was really healthy for the game, which is great to see.
You guys keep talking about it. I'm gonna have to play the game, man. Yeah.
Shit, dude.
But
I
you
gotta
got to
start
play
doing something else.
Minecraft, dude.
I know.
You got to fucking
I
play.
know.
No Call of Duty until you fucking finally play Minecraft.
Oh, dude.
This is the last question I'm gonna ask here. This one's kind of geared to what you've been doing on stream recently, Summit. Like a lot of people were asking this because a lot of WoW players have never tried Guild Wars 2, and a lot of WoW players just assume that Guild Wars 2 is ass. It's been a thing in the community
shit.
for a while. So there are a bunch of different questions from people who play WoW asking like, is it ass? Because everybody in WoW thinks that Guild Wars 2 is ass. Like
That's so funny.
Yeah, would you tell people who play WoW to try Guild Wars 2? Like, what is the appeal?
I think, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's got more skill shots than World of Warcraft does. And when it comes to the intricacies of the game, obviously I haven't dabbled into it, but I've been talking to Mighty Teapot, and he's real heavy into it. And it seems to get pretty in depth when it comes to PvP. I mean, any game that we know that can even have some sort of competitive esport has got to have some sort of decent balance within their game. And there's not many MMOs that can go that far, even to get to arenas and casting and stuff like that. So for Guild Wars 2 to do that, I think showcases it already that it's a pretty good game. And from playing it myself, it's like seems to be very intricate. I get my fucking ass kicked by people that know what they're doing, and that's enough for me, you know. So yeah, I would say it's good. Skill shots, targeting, managing your abilities. You have to press them fast. You have to press them, with in good positioning and use teamwork and all the nine. You know what I mean? But there's definitely, I would say, like we were saying, I hate to keep using the word diverse and diversity, but it's pretty fucking important in video games now, and it has a good amount of diversity in the PvP style. So I like it. It's been pretty fun and also rage-inducing. So that's usually the sign of a good game.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, dude, I think that this was one of those episodes of Allcraft that we've needed to have for a really long time. And Summit, you were really perfect for it. So thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, sorry about the mic at the whole broadcast. I didn't realize it was so fucked up.
Oh, dude, I never know, man. My chat loves to debate me and be like, bro, your camera just stopped working. And I tab out and I'm like, it's working fine. They're like, fucking idiot. It's working. We knew that. We just wanted you to look at it. And so I just usually blow it off. But I appreciate you fixing it. It's awesome, man. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on the show, dude. It's been a great show. And especially getting your perspective on the other MMOs. I so much hope that Ashes of Creation is going to be good. I hope New World's going to be good too.
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm pretty pumped for both of them. I think I'll enjoy playing both of them, to be honest. I hope New World goes kind of Dark Souls-y. We'll see, though.
Oh, dude, that'd be good.
But yeah, man, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Man. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, guys. And I really appreciate it.
Got me. I thought that I messed up.
What?
What happened?
Chat. I was looking at the chat. I thought I messed up my camera because it was like all that. We literally just talked about them trolling, and I'm so stupid.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's great. Yes, I usually, it can be annoying, but it can be funny sometimes too. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And guys, link Summit socials as if he needs it. Everybody knows who Summit is. But yeah, thanks a lot, man. And Rich and I are going to, of course, going to be doing the after show on Rich's stream. And so if you guys stick around for that, we'll go ahead and hop on over there. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
All right, brothers. I will see you guys later, all right?
All right, peace. See you later.